What is it with you? What do you got, a death wish or something?
That's what it takes. I just want to race.
All right, Diesel Heads, it's episode 23 of the Chronicles of Diesel, the only show that goes through everything Vin Diesel, his films, his games, his music. My name is Ethan, and with me here to do the thing from the movie is Devin.
I don't know what happens next.
Wow, that is true. And that could actually be applied to, I guess, the D&D thing as well, because you never know what happens next. Yes, today's episode...
iPad?
Oh, God. We're going to talk about this movie. Today's episode is all about the movie The Last Witch Hunter, as well as the kind of marketing, cool internet video, just little thing that happened surrounding it called D&Diesel, a Dungeons & Dragons little mini one-shot, 30-minute extravaganza. Yeah, that's all about today. Before we go back in time to these episodes, why don't we go back just, like maybe 30 days or so? And let me know what happened, Devin, in Diesel's current, I don't know, what's the beef watch?
So yeah, last month, we're covering December last month, we always kind of record this episode, Chronicles of Diesel, in the last week of the month. So there's some stuff we miss here and there. And one thing we did miss, literally it was like the next day after we recorded, but we already were kind of cutting it close in terms of holidays and all that. And I thought, well, we can talk about it next week or next episode. And here on VNN, we have a new series. Some channels have a Tucker Carlson. Here we have Beef Watch. All right. And then Beef Watch, we watch the beef that Vin Diesel gets himself into. Whether he starts it, whether someone else starts it, doesn't matter. It's how, what's happening, how did we get here? So for everyone who knows, if you follow Vin Diesel, you know about The Rock versus Vin Diesel through the Fast and Furious saga. That's one of the reasons he's not been in the main movies. That's one of the reasons there's only a Hobbs and Shaw film. But long story short, last month, it was literally a couple of days before New Year's, The Rock finally responded to Vin Diesel's Instagram post, where he basically, we felt that he kind of did an uncalled for call out, a plea maybe to some people, to ask The Rock to come back for Fast 10. And we weren't sure if he was going to respond at all, because it was like a couple of weeks by the time it happened. Because the post, I think Vin Diesel's initial post was early December, mid-December. And we're like, wow, he really called him out. Let's see how The Rock responds, if at all. And at the time of the recording of the episode, he didn't respond, so we kind of speculated a little bit whether or not he would. And it was like the very next day, he finally said in an interview, I don't remember exactly where, but he basically said, I'm not coming back. And he did mention in this interview that he spoke to Vin Diesel, like privately, one-to-one, like not on social media or whatever, that like, hey, I'm not going to be in this anymore. And so I think that's why he literally quote said, I was very surprised by Vin's recent post. This past June, when Vin and I actually connected, not over social media, I told him directly and privately that I would not be returning to the franchise. I was firm yet cordial with my words and said that I would always be supportive of the cast and always root for the franchise to be successful. But then there was no chance. There was no chance I would return. He said he also privately spoke with partners at Universal, and all of them who are supportive of the project, and they understood the problem. I don't know why he says the problem, because that makes it seem like there's maybe money. Is it Vin himself? He also did say Vin's recent public post was an example of his manipulation. I didn't like that he brought up his children in the post, as well as Paul Walker's death. Leave them out of it. We had spoken months ago about this, and it came to a clear understanding. He said that he wanted to exit the franchise gracefully. I found this from cheatsheet.com, but there's plenty of other articles that have talked about this, but it was just the quickest one I could find. But just want to give credit where credit's due. for the reporting. My goal all along was to end my amazing journey with this incredible Fast and Furious franchise with gratitude and grace. It's unfortunate that this public dialogue has muddied the waters. He says, regardless, I'm confident in the Fast universe and its ability to consistently deliver for the audience. And I truly wish my former co-stars and crew members the best of luck and success in the next chapter. And this obviously got some mixed reactions. I mean, we had our reaction. You can go listen to it in the past episode. But basically, to sum it up, it was just we felt like Vin Diesel didn't have to do this. And of course, we want The Rock to be back. I think everyone wants The Rock to be back, except for The Rock.
But if it's not to be, it's not to be.
Yeah, and I think
the way it is.
And if this is what The Rock is saying, and if it's true, it's kind of shitty for him to be like, oh, kind of using the fans and family members as leverage. Then we had a third party. We had a third party pop in. Our other beef cake, John Cena, one of our other heroes of our planet.
I don't think that's what the beef and beef watch means.
Does it? So John Cena is on a kind of press tour for his show Peacemaker, which is a spin-off of HBO series spin-off of the last Suicide Squad movie. It's on my list to watch. I'm waiting for it to kind of for me to not be as busy, but I know I think it's episode by episode release, so I'm going to wait for it to be all in one, so hopefully we can just kind of binge it. Because I did like his character. I thought he was funny. He was great. But he went on Pardon My Take, which is a sports mostly... Yeah, it's just sports. I've heard of it before. I thought it was an ESPN thing, but I guess not anymore. Because now it's part
Is it a Barstool Sports thing?
Now it's part of Barstool's, and I'll just say this. Fuck Barstool. I'm just going to say it right now. It's basically the stereotypical... I don't know anything about... It's basically a stereotypical, like, what you think of a frat boy on campus who, like, goes to watches the football game. He doesn't play football. The games. He watches the games. Think of that, but you never age, and you never age maturity-wise, and you're 45. That's what Barstool is to me.
Nice. Okay.
And they're usually just toxic masculine motherfuckers on Twitter and shit. Well, we also know David Petrona, or whatever his last name is. He's like super anti-union and fucking piece of shit garbage man on Twitter.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyways, regardless, John Cena went on here to talk about Peacemaker. I guess he also talked about a couple other things, but I sent you that little clip, and I know you watched it. It's like a 40 to 30 minute long interview. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I did want to make sure because I found it from an article, and I want to make sure I watched the video to see.
The video itself was like an hour and 15 minutes or something.
Yeah, most of it was...
It was like halfway in.
Yeah, but I just wanted to make sure I got like his real... Like, I wanted to see how he physically said it and whatnot, because articles kind of hard to tell.
Right, words on a page don't convey tone sometimes.
So I want to watch the video. You watch the video. And he seemed beforehand to be like, enjoying the conversation, laughing. John Cena's always seemed like a guy you can have a conversation with, like, doesn't matter who you are. And he seems
even if he is like, I don't want to talk to this fan, I want to move on. He still seems like he could humor you in a way that seems probably genuine.
Yeah, I think he gets that from his WWE days, and I know a lot of kids and adults look up to him from that time, and as an actor now.
He's very tall. I definitely look up to him.
But anyways, he was answering one question or whatever, and then, like, out of nowhere, the one guy wearing sunglasses indoors said, "Oh, whose side are you on, Vin Diesel or The Rock?" And like you can just see immediately his face, like,
yeah, because that's an asshole question to ask.
Yeah.
Hey, talk shit about one of these two people right now. I don't know you personally, so tell me.
Yeah, I could tell that, like, he quickly, like,
went into PR mode.
PR mode, yeah, and he was like. He just said, to quote a little bit of it, he just said, "I don't think that story is about taking sides. That story is about hearing everybody's perspective, and it is a story where me, as a fan of the franchise, I love the franchise to get together for this last run. I hope they call me to be in it." And he said that very, like, charismatically. It sounded like he actually wants to be in it.
And also, that's something you would want to make sure you say if you actually are in it, and that's not public yet. Like an Andrew Garfield in certain movies type of thing he's done.
Maybe he's in the talks to be in it, and if he says, like, "Oh, I'm on the Rock side," you think Vin's going to let him be on it still? I don't know.
Also, just, like, I can easily see... I'm sorry to cut you off, to the point of what he's about to basically say, it's about being just mature and just being like, look, like, we ain't children. Maybe Tyrese and Ludacris are like acting like punks about it, because that's what I heard is they enjoy calling the Rock out about it. Like, maybe that's what they do, but like for the most part, I can just see like, no, like, we are all just we are businessmen. You know what I mean? These high profile actors.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not here. I'm here to do a job, and I have fun doing it. I'm not here to like, play rumor mongering, little schoolyard kids about this.
Yeah,
like,
he says,
it
quote,
is what it is.
He says, quote, but when someone says professional, they want to go in another direction. If you say anything other than okay, it's their professional opinion to make the choice that they want. I think that's very brave and very honest. And he's not talking about vaccines, folks. He's talking about, like I said, acting. So he said, so I think Vin's perspective has a lot of gravity and honesty, and I think Dwayne's perspective has a lot of gravity and honesty. I think this is, man, if we could stop taking sides and just take a second to hear everybody, these are two amazingly successful superstars, people who have crafted their own existence and are globally adored, which is true.
Yeah, and then the guy that asked the question is trying to cut in saying, like, oh, you're really mature. I was just trying to get headlines. It's like, yeah, you're just trying to be an asshole.
And then he tried to play it off as like a joke, but it's like, don't ask the question. Literally, you didn't have to ask this question.
Then basically almost asked the same thing anyway, but being like, who'd you rather hang out with?
Yeah,
I get that
I'll
there's
get to that in a
context.
sec. But he says, Vin's been the father of the Fast franchise, and he's coming in on his 10th installment. Dwayne Starr is the most electrifying sports entertainer in the history of sports entertainment, which is, by the way, him saying that, I think is super respectful, considering John Cena also, I would argue, is one of the better...
John Cena was The Rock before The Rock.
Well, no, wasn't The Rock... Rock was first. Rock was 90s.
Was he?
Then John Cena's our Rock, really.
No, it all seems so old to me.
John Cena, like, was in, mid-2000s. But really, like, both of them are, very successful.
It's hard to tell when he was around since I couldn't really see him.
Oh, my God. God damn it. He just said, and in general, he says, I guess it's just about understanding where each guy's coming from. That's all. And then, like you said, he then asked, would you rather have Coronas with Vin Diesel or tequila with The Rock? And he did mention this, but I think he was mostly joking, obviously. He did mention in that part, and once again, trying to play it off, but he did mention, he's like, oh, I wasn't in the picnic, or not the picnic scene,
The
barbecue scene. At the end of the movie and end of most of the Fast movies, there's a scene where they're eating as a family, doing prayer and chatting and making jokes or whatever. And he wasn't in that part. They could have put him in that. Maybe they're waiting to do that in Fast 10 or something. I don't know.
I honestly don't even remember what happened to him in the movie. I think, doesn't he just drive off?
Yeah, he just drives off, and they kind of let him do that. But he mentioned that, like, yeah, that would have been my time to do that, basically. Then he mentioned that, like, it would be fun to do the tequila, like a tequila like competition, basically, with The Rock. But he's like The Rock downs it so quick. He's like, I would definitely lose.
See, I stopped watching around there, so this is new information for me.
But yeah, he basically just didn't give a clear answer. He just said, like, well, I didn't have my opportunity yet. He's like, maybe if I get on the next one, we'll see. So took it like a champ, I think, and went PR mode. And I'm glad he didn't take sides. You know what I mean? Because fuck that bait. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, like, we could be, I guess, not upset, but just like disappointed with Vin, right? But I'm also not going to be like, okay, we need to cancel.
You're dead to me.
Yeah, we're going to cancel the show. You know what I mean? It's just like, yeah, disappointed. And who knows? This all could be fucking smoke screens, and we'll have fucking The Rock at the end of Fast 10 to save the day or some crazy shit like that.
I honestly don't think that's
I don't
the
think
case.
so, but I'm like, but what if it happened? Then we will go back to this moment and be like, damn, they fucking fooled us.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And for what? To be fair, why?
Yeah, I would be kind of like, okay, why do they do this fake beef? But yeah, and I also hope John Cena's in the next one, because why not?
Yeah. I mean, he's not dead, so I mean, even if he was dead, he'll be coming back.
Bring
I
him
guarantee. I guarantee they'll resurrect Giselle, Gal Gadot.
Yeah,
but
as Wonder Woman though. And I will quickly, before just to end it up here, he only had 3 Instagram posts, and I actually now, and because we have a little social peek behind the Wizard's curtain, we have a little social media sheet that I do.
Oh, did he finally surpass our Instagram follows?
Not yet, but I added because I had it on a sticky note, like all his all his numbers of followers that he had, and I put it on our calendar that we've already been using just because I didn't know what month each one was because I didn't mark it. I just been adding, so I'm like, let me do this so I know. So we've been tracking since October of 2020,
Mm-hmm.
and he started at 65.9. And then of this month, as of this recording, 78.1 million. Still on our way to 100 million. I don't think he's going to get it by the time we end this show, but I think he's going to get pretty close. I think I'm going to guess around 85, unless he can squeeze Fast 10 into the summer. Because I remember we were talking about like was he going to get a boost from Fast and Furious, and I think he did. Not a big one, because you're talking about millions of people, so it is a lot. But like in terms of his numbers, it's not a huge jump. But he did, jump up almost 2 mil in 2 months. So he got $1 million per month, which is pretty crazy.
Jeez.
Sometimes he has 3. But yeah, and then he only did 3 Instagram posts, but all of them there's one of Bloodshot. And then there's...
I forget about that movie all the damn time.
Yeah, I thought I saw somewhere that they're making a sequel, but I couldn't find anything.
I think we talked about that on this show.
Did we?
That they're making a sequel.
There's a picture of him on a beach kneeling, Kaepernicking. Not obviously not, but
Copernicus kissing.
Or Tim Tebowing. Back when kneeling was cool, to most people. And then he had a video of saying Happy New Year's on January 4th, and it has his daughter riding like a pony behind him. And he kind of laughs about it. But, really, nothing too... Actually, he went up by 0.1 of a million. He's at 0.2 now, 78.2. Sorry, it just refreshed.
Jeez, the power of live podcasting.
I dropped those. I put those numbers in like 3 hours ago, so that's actually pretty insane that it went up 0.1 of a millionth.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, Vin Diesel. Beef Watch, I think, is cooled off, though. Because I think I'm surprised, not surprised, more so that I thought we would get something.
I hope it's cooled off, because if it continues, this is going to be lame and probably a little pathetic.
Yeah,
if, like,
just
Vin Diesel needs to say something back.
Well, so I'm saying I feel like we would have gotten something by now, because it's been almost 4 weeks. But doesn't mean
that's true.
It's not possible. They might when they're filming or something. Maybe he'll think about it again, but I hope not.
I mean, who knows? At any given moment, Vin Diesel could go on Instagram and just film himself being like, "We're all here except for someone," and like baked out of his mind or whatever. Like I feel like he is half the time.
I always wondered that. Does he smoke? No, I'm not talking about cigarettes.
I was told in something I read. I read, not told directly. I read. That in a behind-the-scenes kind of talk that Critical Role does, apparently he was baked when he did the second thing we're going to talk about.
Sick.
But I can't confirm that. I didn't look and find that interview.
I'll look at the video again. Is his eyes dilated, or is his eyes red, or anything like that?
I don't know.
Honestly, I mean, I'm not judging, by the way. I'm curious.
I am.
Because, it's a good question. I mean, I feel like most celebrities smoke, at the least. Because you have just access to it so much easier than...
Nicolas Cage.
Dude, Nicolas Cage does more than smoke weed. Like, on a daily basis. That guy's probably popping Xanax or something every day.
Yeah. All right. Let's dial it back in time to 2015.
Great year.
For the last winch hunter. I'm hunting some winches.
Oh my god.
I
don't think he would have been on that Critical Role thing if that was the name of the character.
Last Witch Hunter, 2015. A nice solid 106 minutes. Felt like a lot longer for me personally, but I feel like that was just the way I watched it. Budget, it gets dicey. I'm just going to go on the over end and say at the top of the range that I've been given, about $90 million for the budget. Box office. Guess how much?
So I remember when this movie. I remember seeing trailers for this.
I
Back
don't.
in 2015 on TV, but I remember hearing like it was either bad or just all right. Then like I never heard about it until we started doing this podcast. So I'm gonna guess based off that. I guess my personal knowledge. I'm gonna guess like 150.
You were very, very close. $147 million.
Okay. I mean, yeah, just
the sequel to this
5.
movie was announced before it went to theaters. Like they announced that, hey, we're going to make a sequel to it, and you know how that went. It's just at the very least been delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed.
But we know that Vin has posted multiple times about that it's still happening. So
yeah, probably. I not gonna fucking lie to you, Devin. I start watching this movie, and I'm like, I thought that they go to a mountain, and I realized I got this movie completely confused with Race to Witch Mountain. And I knew, like, I typed The Last Witch Hunter. I watched the right movie, but I'm like, I thought this was like a kids movie. Like straight up thinking that it was like a family friendly.
The title
like
is The Last Witch Hunter.
But like the content of it, I thought was like whatever. So I went in being like, this is
This Calder
are they
guy,
going to do some sort of like modern day, and it's like the pacifier of Diesel versus whatever the fuck he was, this fake ass hair. In any case, yes, director Breck Eisner. This was the last movie he's ever directed, but he has directed a few TV shows since, including The Expanse, which I heard is very good. So
He
shout
also
out to
directed
Breck.
Sahara.
No idea what that is.
2005. I saw that opening night, and I got a T-shirt that said Sahara on it, and it was an extra large, and I was 10, so like it hanged on me. But I saw it with my
Nice.
my grandpa and my dad, and I think I feel like everyone was there. Like our entire, I don't know why, but
They had
like
T-shirts.
and they gave away T-shirts on opening night. But I haven't seen that movie since. But I remember it like just vividly, and every time I see it, I'm like, oh yeah, Sahara. Hell yeah, Matthew McConaughey's in it.
Okay, now it's on my radar.
He also directed
That's
The
my favorite actor
Crazies,
right
which
there.
I've seen a couple times on TV. And it's a
See, those
That's
don't reach my memory hole. But I hear good things about The Expanse, so like he's currently doing cool shit. Producers on this film were Mark Canton, Bernie Goldman, and Vincent Diesel, or just Vin Diesel. This movie is a movie, and let's open with our recap, and we'll give our thoughts as we go. How does that sound?
okay. Do we want to just do initial? Just
Do we usually do that?
yeah, we usually do like a like. Did
I
you
thought
like
this
it? Did
movie
you-
was a movie. I have no positive nor negative emotions about this. This was content I watched. Honestly, that's how I feel. I watched a thing for 106 minutes, occasionally pausing to make sure I finished out my notes and playing the movie again. What about you? Honest to God, like, like I have a bit of my voice is in how I, recap some of this, but I honestly don't have too much. Obviously, when certain actors pop up, I'm like, oh, cool. Like, that's cool, but overall, I'm like, this is a very standard Hollywood PG-13. I don't know if it's actually PG-13. I think it is PG-13. PG-13 fantasy adventure movie
PG-13.
akin to Percy and the Olympians, akin to X and Y and Hansel and Gretel starring Hawkeye. And I think, what's her name from Lord of the Rings and Hulk. Just seems like all of these dark PG-13 fantasy films that aren't any good, but they're not offensively bad. It just seemed like another one of those. I'm sorry. I wish I was like up for this movie or even down. This was just a thing I watched.
For me, Well, I wound up buying it because it was $1 more to buy it. So I'm
I
like,
did too.
so I bought it.
And I regret it now because I'm like, I'm never watching this movie again. Fuck.
And I, surprisingly, I'm going to go against you, I actually liked this movie. This is kind of my alley of, like, I don't think it's a great movie by any means. And I feel like I always say that with, like, a lot of the shit that we review on the Sonic movie show in general. I'm like, ain't a good movie, but I like it.
Street Fighter was a good movie.
But I actually enjoyed it. I found some of the comedy funny compared to some other stuff Vin Diesel's been in. That where it's trying to be comedic. I've actually found some jokes more funny in this than in like Fast and Furious films. And I like my witches and like dark fantasy shit. So like I think that another reason I think I like this more maybe than other people. I grew up watching Underworld. I grew up watching Van Helsing starring Hugh Jackman. And those movies never got sequels. Well, Underworld did, but a lot of garbage ones. But regardless, Blade. All right. So like this was already up my alley a little bit. And overall, yeah, I'll just leave it at that as we go through. And I was surprised by, I don't know why, but once we get to it, there was one moment where I'm like, this is like, I never thought, like, the way it just hit me in a weird way, where it's like these two actors together, I just never would imagine working together, and yet here it is in 2015. It came out.
Sure,
but yeah, overall, I liked it. I might have it on. I might have it on the TV later. We'll see.
I don't think I ever will watch this movie again. The context for why I would be, I'd just throw something I own on Amazon Prime Video up, but I also own on there like Into the Spider-Verse and a couple other things. I'm like, yeah, I own like the Lord of the Rings trilogy's extended editions on there. I'm like, fuck this. I'm just gonna, I'd throw one of those on. And speaking about Lord of the Rings, we open this film with a Lord of the Rings walk montage as a bunch of, I think, Vikings are walking through the snow, trudging.
Yeah, they're like,
they do a good attempt at
Nordic.
Yeah, loosely. I don't think it matters. I don't think they really had an idea of what they needed. It didn't matter to them. Vin Diesel is here with a totally fake Viking beard and is accompanied by several priests and hunters as they delve into a giant tree to kill the Witch Queen.
I will say I actually like Vin Diesel with the beard. We've seen him do different variations. Even this one is fake.
It looks so fake, though.
Does it?
It just, yeah.
For me, it doesn't.
And this weird, like, hair thing he's got going on up here.
I mean, I don't know. I just feel like it looks about the same as, like, a Game of Thrones, which we'll get to later. And
will we?
Yeah, one of the characters is from.
I haven't seen it.
I don't know, but I'm not saying it's the best hair I've ever seen, but like, I don't think it's terrible.
It feels very out of place for me.
Well, it's because we don't see him. He looks the same in every other movie. That's why.
Yeah, you stick to a good formula, Devin. That's all you got to do.
The one time I think I'm just saying, I think Vin Diesel needs to grow a beard. And as he's getting older here, he'd be pretty dope with like an all-white beard.
There's a difference between Vin Diesel growing a beard and having the makeup department attach a crisscross net to his chin. That's what this beard looked like.
Not to me. Disagree.
Agree to disagree.
But I'll say
the witch
this.
shows up.
I'm saying the last time we had a beard Vin Diesel, though, I think was in, what was it called? A
Man Apart?
A Man Apart, where he had like he hasn't shaved in a couple days look, but not like...
Yeah, I'd rather take that than this for sure, because that probably was real. They probably said, hey, just take a couple weeks off, don't shave.
I want to know why he doesn't have any, like he doesn't... I think he'd look good. I'm saying generally, I think he needs some facial hair in his life.
Maybe it's something his kids tell him he's not allowed to do. The witch shows up and does some magic shit, and everyone has to fight out of this dungeon. And Vin Diesel looks like he's done this MMO raid many, many times. I definitely get video game vibes here of like, you gotta do this puzzle, stand on the things, open the door, and then the monsters come in. Everyone
else got their asses
raid.
handed to them. Like there was like, because like that one like beast of some sort like comes out of like the wall and like grabs the one guy. And then like, I feel like their entire crew, like they brought this whole tribe up in here, and like they just like at least 10 of them die instantly. and it's like him
Yeah.
and like 3 guys left. But he was like he was alert. He had the alert feat, and he was freaking getting everybody.
He does. I will say this, and it's tough because of the D&Diesel thing we're also going to talk about to really confirm if this is true or not. And this movie was written by people. I didn't put the writers down. This is just a movie. It is loosely based off some stuff. But I believe the idea from Vin's perspective is a good chunk of this character Calder is based off an old D&D character he had that was like a ranger that he like modified, did some homebrew stuff so he could have some spells because he wanted to have spells. A ranger with spells, like attack spells. So like there is a little bit of Dungeons and Dragons roots to how he played, I guess, maybe this guy a little bit, at least in sections like this. In any case, he wanders away from this group and sees a vision of his daughter, which is a trick by the witch to make him fall down a hole.
He got charmed.
Yep. The witch tells us that she made a plague because she doesn't like us, and Vin Diesel blows himself up and fights the witch. But as she dies, she curses Vin with immortality. He basically lights his ass on fire, but he's okay. And she's honestly okay, too. It just sets the tree on fire, and then they duke it out a bit. Stabs her right in the chest.
I thought, like, the idea of a curse of living forever was kind of neat. Like, I mean, I only time I've ever, like, seen that done before is with, like, vampires, where, like, the vampire is like, oh, wait, I'm kind of sick of this. Oh, wait, anyone I love dies.
See,
like, what
that's
I mean?
the thing. The curse of immortality needs to have a drawback to just simply living forever. Otherwise, you can live your best life forever. And we kind of see that a little bit into this movie. He needed to not be able to enjoy food or ever be happy. Like something that really made him miserable, but he kind of isn't. He gets to just be awesome.
Well, yeah, because like the
and
whole
have
setup
fun.
is like, oh, you have to deal with your like dead family being on your mind forever, basically. But to be fair,
You forget and move on.
800 years, yeah, forget like
Maybe not forget, but like you move on. Like weak-willed people wouldn't, and he ain't no weak-willed person. He's a Vin Diesel character. We jump to modern day, and Vin Diesel's on a plane. His bad wig is gone, and he's up to something. He's looking for a magic girl and finds one. Turns out she's inadvertently caused a bad storm that's about to crash the plane. Vin Diesel fixes it and reveals his name as Calder. And this is a cute scene on the plane. I don't know if he was there specifically on a job or if it was a coincidence that he was on a plane and
I
like,
think
oh, shit.
I think he mentioned that he was tracking it or something, that like he's been looking for
Okay.
him for some time, and he kind of narrowed it down to this. But like, yeah, he winks at that one kid, like while he's like barely saving the day. Just has that, optimism that like, yeah, I'm gonna fix this. No, I'm not worried.
Yeah.
I also think this is
Picks up a
funny.
stewardess.
I also think it's funny too that he like, it's like the whole like crystal girl thing, you know what I mean? Which whatever.
Sure.
I just thought it was funny. Like that's how it kind of like outside the Witch Queen, it goes from like high fantasy Dungeons and Dragons level of witch to like
Hot Topic.
I use
Aesthetic.
crystals to make myself feel better and like whatever. You know what I mean? Like, and it goes from that to like, oh, both of these are actually like they're connected, and they do talk about it, how it's like
Sure.
it's diluted over
There's-
time and all that.
Probably in nice, safe ways. Because plagues are not
But I just
nice
love it.
or
Like
safe.
I put the wrong crystals in my purse, and now like I almost causes.
It just seemed like she was just a little dumb. Didn't realize, like, hey, these shouldn't touch each other. And I just jumbled them around in my book bag. He also picks up a stewardess. And then the next line I wrote was just simply Michael Caine. Oh, I spelled it with a K. There we go. See. Fuck, this dude's in this movie. Like,
yeah,
what the fuck?
Yeah, and was not expecting
here.
that. Was not expecting
No.
that. But this isn't the moment where I was like, wow, these guys never worked together, and like I never would have predicted they would ever
Right.
work together. But it's definitely up there.
We'll get there.
It's definitely up there. But like, I'm like, yeah, who doesn't like Michael? Like, who doesn't like Michael Caine?
Yeah. Yes. And Vin Diesel clearly likes Michael Caine. The dude can't like stop smiling when he's around him.
I did like their chemistry though. Michael Caine.
It's we'll get there, but yeah, it's a weird like alternative Batman scenario.
Yeah.
In any case, he has called Father Dolan, and he gives us some exposition in a taxi as he heads to meet with Calder. Dolan is retiring, and can I just say this right now? As soon as he fucking said his name is Dolan, and then like I paused the movie, and I have I finished typing up. I keep subtitles on so I can make sure I know what people say correctly for the notes or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I see it spelled Dolan.
Yeah.
For the rest of this movie, all I could think about is that stupid Donald Duck meme, Dolan.
Oh, I like.
You know what I'm talking about? Every single time I hear Dolan,
Donald Duck
I
memes,
just
so.
I just see the derpy Donald Duck that's about to either kill someone or ask for cake, and that's the whole time I can think of. Is like Dolan. That's all I can think of.
I probably have seen it. I just have ignored it or not remembered. So
it's definitely like no longer in vogue, but that was like the funny, not mean, edgy like meme character.
Was it from 2015?
Could be, but I will say this: Dolan is the actual surname of the Archbishop of New York City.
Oh, there you go.
Which is where this movie takes place.
Wow.
So yeah, exactly. Maybe it's because of that, or it was a coincidence. In any case, Dolan is retiring, and he tells Calder in a roundabout way to actually live life for once, which is crazy that he's gone 800 years without enjoying life. But he kind of is. He's got money. He's got an awesome penthouse.
That's my question. Where you get all
How's
that
he got
money?
money?
Yeah, how you got that money?
Oh, the church is
right?
giving him the money. Yeah,
That's for all your fucking tax. Or aren't you going to go to church? You're paying that. You're paying Calder's fucking rent.
You're paying Vin Diesel.
Not rent. I'm sure he owns it.
Yeah, well, you paid for the taxi cab for the stewardess. As Calder looks out the window, we cut to "Oh my God." So Elijah Wood plays the newest Dolan and is nervous to meet Calder. I skipped ahead there, but I wrote "Oh my God" as soon as I saw Elijah Wood like on frame.
I mean, I saw that he was in it before going in.
I didn't.
Oh, really? See, even I knew going in, and I still was blown away. This is the moment I was talking about, where, like, up until this moment, I never would have like knew I wanted or thought of the idea of Elijah Wood and Vin Diesel on the same set.
It's looking good.
On the same film together. And then it, like, my brain just goes right back to Lord of the Rings, where I'm like, man, thank you, Elijah. Just thank you. Because, like,
nice.
I don't know. It was just very weird because I'm like, now that I think about it, I'm like, when's the last time I seen Elijah Wood? I know he's done other stuff, but like, Yo Gabba Gabba and Lord of the Rings, like, that's my experience with him.
He was on Yo Gabba Gabba?
I thought so. Yeah. I think he was. Let me double check.
As like a guest star, I'm sure. Because Jack Black was also on there too. But yeah, Dolan gives Calder a pen. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of talk back and forth. This is where your iPad thing comes from, as Calder tells Dolan the 36th, old Dolan, to like, oh, what about that iPad I gave you? And he said, I gave it away. I'd rather use this book that says XXX on it, that some people think is a reference. It's not a reference. Yeah, he gives him a pen, a retiring pen. I lowered the value on it by carving your initials in it. Michael Caine sweetly says, not to me, or whatever. But yes, then they're talking about Elijah Wood, and we cut to Elijah Wood. He is about to meet Dolan, and he's nervous. The next morning, Calder fixes clocks and learns that Michael Caine's Dolan died, and goes to Elijah Wood's Dolan's inauguration. There, he gets a brand, which is scary.
Yeah, you're definitely doing a vow there. If you're getting, by the way, if you're ever getting branded,
cultish.
Either it's a cult, or you didn't read the fine print. That's all I'm going to say.
Always read the fine print. Never, ever agree to a contract without reading the whole thing.
I mean, you could, as long as you scroll through it, it's fine. But like, just at least do that.
Would you do that? If someone handed you if someone handed you a contract right now, that was for something you wanted, would you read the whole thing or no?
What's the thing I'm getting?
I don't know. What do you want?
I guess if it was my student loans paid off, I mean, maybe. Like, I definitely would read
All right,
that. I dedefinitely
student
would read
loans
that.
would be paid off.
I definitely would read that because I'm
Read the whole
like,
thing?
it's too much money at stake to be like, there's got to be like, I'm getting branded.
Okay.
Because maybe that's it. It's like I get whoever paid it off his name branded on my fucking forehead or something. That I'm not doing that.
It could be a lot worse. You
Yeah.
never know. They meet in a small cemetery, and after talking, they head to old Dolan's office. So they sit here in the cemetery.
Yeah.
And Dolan is trying to talk about how ready he is for the responsibility, and Calder is like, when I was a kid, this place was made of corn, and I watched them build that stone, and there was slaves, and I did nothing.
I
He
guess
didn't say
that's
that,
true.
but
I
he
didn't
did
think about
nothing.
it that way. Like,
When the Holocaust happened, I did
well,
nothing.
I think he technically said like, oh, like they found slaves under here, so he wasn't there when they died. It was just that they found
True,
slaves,
yeah.
and he's like, you know what they did? They kept building.
Yeah.
So like, but that is also true. Like, he's literally can't die. He could fight the Nazis. Like, he just
This
could.
is the Eternals situation all over again.
Yeah.
That's my issue with the Eternals, and I do have this issue with this movie as well. And granted, maybe he did, and we just don't hear about it. Maybe they save it for a sequel, for a flashback or whatever. But I'm going under the assumption that the world is exactly the way it is, but there's this other side to society regarding witches. You have these people that live forever, and the world never changed because of whatever code they have or whatnot. And it's only until the events of the movie that they start to falter with, you know what I mean, changing. That was my issue with Eternals. Like, you motherfuckers wait till now. But yes, he's lived quite
At
a
the very
life.
least,
and he
they
tells
say that
Dolan
like,
about it.
oh, this fight he does of the witches and gets these bad witches. At least like I think that's part of his contract. I don't think they convey it well enough to where it's like he can't interact with the outside world too much, like unless it's to save someone, like the girl on the plane or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, but he can't like go do a fucking spell on the United States president and obliterate him on live television or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, then I guess that because like the
what
world
would they
doesn't
do?
know about
He's immortal.
magic, it seems, and the witches
Yeah.
aren't gonna expose it because of the. They talk about the Salem witch trials and stuff like that, and later on, but
Yeah, I feel like there needed to be a bit more narrative nails holding this this giant piece of heavy setting. You know what I mean? Like, that's a lot to ask for an audience to believe, and I feel like it's fine. I can just suspend the disbelief and just go with it. But like, I feel like a good story that wants to do this thing needs to have a couple more reasons in this base, the foundation.
I just thought the overall concept is
to really
cool
explain it a bit.
and different. But like kind of what you're saying is that I wish there was a little bit more, and not
Like, what if
and not because they
the
didn't add
more-
more to it, but it isn't like in a way that like feels like you said, like where it's weighted or whatnot. It just kind of feels like, yeah, I mean, we all just do our thing. Like, life's good.
Yeah, I could go around the corner and I can just see a new situation in which there's actually magic here, but on the outside, nothing's different. It's just you just do what you do. It's like Harry Potter in a sense. When they leave the school and you leave, the setting that was all magic, and you go to modern day, and it's like no one knows, but if you just peek behind the curtain, you see all the magic
No,
gears being turned.
as wizards, we could not stop the atom bomb from dropping. Sorry.
And we all know what Wizards, aka J.K. Rowling's opinions are about the Holocaust. I'm sure. So they're heading to Dolan's office, old Dolan's office. They get there, they're looking around. They find magic, and they learn that he was murdered. Vin Diesel breathes on that window. They set that up when he did on the plane. He breathes on the window. And he sees just a little bit faint of magic. Maybe that's not enough. And he's looking around, and bam! He just sees a couple bugs on the ground or something like that. And he lights the floor on fire. It's a sealing spell. And he was murdered.
I did think this was cool that like, because when you come in, it's all like nicely done. Like he, was fine the other day, and he even asked Dolan, the other Dolan, he asked, like, oh, were you had a conversation with him yesterday? He's like, yeah, he was fine. I do like it that all of a sudden, like, oh no, this is the reality, but like it physically changes. It's not just a visual thing. Like there's like a
Right.
physical magic difference in this room. And I'm like, that's cool. I like that as an idea.
Yeah.
Magic idea.
Yeah. Yeah, they're talking through it. The book has a blood fingerprint. Vin Diesel immediately suspects Elijah Wood. Then we get a little bit of backstory. Oh, my parents in the fire, and you were there, and blah, blah, blah. It's just setting up a line at the end of the movie, essentially. After talking, they head to the car, and I pause the movie here, coincidentally, which is parked next to a no parking sign.
And what are they going to do?
Tow it. And they go chase a lead. They find a Warnock. They find
Warlock.
I keep thinking about the Nox, Nasty Knock or whatever from Spyro the Dragon.
What Knack?
They find a I can't. I don't like that game. I tried. I really tried to give Knack a shot. It's just boring.
I've never played it. I don't even know what it looks like, and that's what's great. I know what the cover looks like, and that is the game. That is the game.
Imagine a platformer where you can be big or you can be small, depending about how many pieces you have in you. It is not great. They find a warlock named Max who is illegally selling bugs to a kitchen. Mind-altering bugs.
I gagged at that part because they're like, and then he's like, "Don't eat that," and then it quickly it's within the next millisecond,
scooping worms out
it's
of
straight maggots or something. They're just putting it in the flour and they're mixing it up, and I'm like.
But I couldn't tell at first if this was the bugs are used to make delicious treats, and you just don't realize that they're not actually treats, it's bugs, or is it these cupcakes made with these bugs alter people's minds?
No, I think it's the first one where that was my.
The business goes better if everyone loves these delicious things, but they're actually made of bugs.
It's like the whole even in the beginning, the witch, some of these witches throughout too, are really old, but they use magic to make themselves beautiful. Right. And
there's
that's
that
classic witch with in Snow White, right? Where she wants to be. Is that Snow White where she wants to be young again? I know she gives the apple, and the apple's actually poison.
That's just she's all of a sudden not the whitest anymore, because that's what fair means. Fair means a white, tight, light skin. She's just not the beautifulest anymore, and she's just jealous. It's a stupid bitch. No, but Maleficent and Sleeping Beauty. I think that's what you're kind of thinking over. It's the actual revenge and stuff.
But I mean,
she's actually a dragon.
I do like when in fantasy when witches mask gross shit or mask themselves as they're beautiful and sexy, and it's nah, this is an old hag that's 5,000 years old and is rotting at her feet, or you know what I mean?
Can I give a hot take that probably is so lukewarm and is so inoffensive because people probably just don't give a shit because it's not the new hot thing anymore. I watched Wicked in New York City maybe 10 years ago.
Uh-huh.
This thing was boring. It was so boring.
I've never seen it, so I can't even either agree or disagree with you.
I remember walking out being I like movies better than plays. I liked Phantom of the Opera better than Wicked. That's saying something because it also
Phantom Opera's cool though. It's a musical too.
I watched both of those in New York City.
I've never seen. I think I saw Chicago, somewhere in Rochester. That was kind of cool.
Nice. When we went to go see Wicked, this was around the time that I think Spider-Man was on its third dead actor and was is this coming back?
Oh my god.
Because I was oh, can we see the Spider-Man play instead? And it just wasn't a thing.
I remember they did a King Kong play too. I think that came and went. And
yeah,
it's a gorilla.
I feel plays
I don't know how you could
in
put
general
that on stage.
are just...
I feel it's a lot of work. If that's your main
Spider-Man was a lot of work.
Is a giant ape, and you can only fill a stage with so much, and you only have so many people. I don't know. I guess they did Lion King, but still, imagine
they managed to do the Avengers movie
in a play.
Oh, you didn't see Hawkeye? Oh, never mind. It's the best part of that show.
Wow, spoilers.
Oh,
goddamn.
Sorry.
Now when I see, I'm gonna be now I'm gonna come out of that theater and be that was boring.
It's a TV show. It's not theaters. Okay. In any case, so Max. I liked Max. I like the fact that he was blind.
He's cool. I like the butterfly or the moths that he has. Moths are cool.
Yeah.
I like moths.
Yeah. Last of Us Part 2. The moth tattoo she has.
Yeah.
This leads Calder to another place to look, and he sends Dolan home, gives him $20, which I for a second thought he was just paying him. Here's a 20.
That's what I thought. I'm like, bro got paid $20 for the whole day. I'm like, I mean, I get you're working with the church, so you probably get like an income, but like $20. Come on now.
In New York City, that is the cab ride.
That's maybe
to be
dinner.
fair. Yeah. Vin Diesel finds his killer, so he thinks. It's a creepy guy that probably kidnaps children. And I like how this scene is introduced, because we follow the perspective of a child seeing just gross-ass gummy bears on the ground, and then she follows the line of them, and it's like very much a Hansel and Gretel. The whole place is yummy, but it's like disgusting little crab apples, which are disgusting even when they're normal.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like, just Darwin fucked up when he invented that tree. That's Charles Darwin invented evolution, right? He made all of us.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. He fucked up when he made that tree because, like, no squirrel wants to eat that shit.
He had a lot of work he had to do. So like,
no birds want to eat that shit.
Some things he had to let slide. It's like Pokemon, making Pokemon. Like some of them,
I don't know if you ever had to like. I don't know if you ever had to like mow lawns for people that weren't like your family or whatever as a kid. Mm-hmm. But there's nothing fucking more annoying than like having to mow someone's lawn and there's crab apples all over the fucking grass. You're like just running them over and you pick them up.
There's a crab apple street down the block from us, and that I thought our dog was gonna eat, but he just ignores them. I'm like, thank God.
Exactly.
Thank
no
God.
one fucking likes them. Okay. Just chop the tree down. Plant something. You know what people do like? Lemons. I don't know if they would grow in New York City though.
Segueing into our next scene.
I'm trying to think what the segue is.
There's none. I'm just fucking with you.
In the background.
There's a
lemon. No, you're right.
Yeah.
In the background, YouTube is open with Lemon Party playing. But yeah, no, this little girl, and then Vin Diesel's there. He goes inside, and he finds this creepy dude who most likely probably kidnaps children.
And eats them, or some crazy shit.
Or just is a pedophile.
Yeah.
He
Maybe a
seems
combination
like he would
of
have been
both
a
those
pedophile.
things.
Yeesh.
Pedophile cannibal.
Yeesh. The man is very quickly brought to trial and sentenced to CGI golem death. No, not death. I learned that later in the movie. It wasn't death. But Calder suspects that there's more to this, and he doubts that this man worked alone. They bring him to witch prison.
I did like
the Coven of Witches.
I like the golem thing. I like anything with bone, like made of bones and like wood, like very earthy. Like,
write this down. I'm going to have you fight one of these in our D&D campaign now.
Yeah. No, I really like. That's the thing. It's one of the reasons I think I like this movie, because there's a lot of like just a mix of traditional witchcraft fantasy shit that I just dig, and like one of those things is like fucking put antlers on anything. That's cool to me. Make something out of bones.
Yeah.
That's cool to me. And like immediately when I saw him, like, sick, cool. And yeah, it takes him away to somewhere. I thought he died too originally, but we find later on that's not the case.
I also couldn't tell at first if like the horrible, just like hooded, like head thing that was put over this guy as Elijah Wood brought him down the stairs. Couldn't tell if that was magical and just made him basically just a vegetable that could walk when pushed. But then like he takes him off and he's the same mannerism. So like maybe he just completely accepted Elijah Wood. Dude could have just broken free from Elijah Wood and ran away. But in any case,
he kicked him in the nuts.
That is true.
He knew that. He was like, he literally said like,
I'll ask for forgiveness, or I'll confess this later. That's how the church works, man.
Yep.
I killed this person. I'll confess it later. Yes. Calder and Dolan head to old Dolan's casket, which is still there. And they find he's actually alive, but cursed to be kind of dead. He's just got this, and it is kind of silly to just, I understand, like, played up for the movie and whatnot, but you see basically just like literal breath come out of Michael Caine's lips in the air, and I'm like, well, bro, why couldn't anyone else see this too? But I think he did something.
He has 800 years
of experience. Yeah,
of seeing dead people or dying.
You know who else saw dead people? Haley Joel Osment. All right.
Yeah.
So, he was Sora in Kingdom Hearts. It still is, even though he's like fucking 50.
I guess that's old.
Yes. Yeah, he's playing like a kid. So
I guess that's true.
yes, in the game. What was I gonna say? Michael Caine is basically cursed. If they kill the witch that did it to him, then he's free. But I don't know. He might just be like on the verge of death anyway.
He's not nice.
But in any case, yeah, kind of. So Calder heads to a witch bar, and when he shows up, everyone tries to run away. One of the witches.
Well, I'll say this part here.
What about
It's
it?
not as sexy, this part, but it's like a softcore version of what I always want, and you know what it is. Gothic bars. We had one, like I said, I was talking about Underworld earlier. Underworld's famous for having sexy underground goth raves.
I just see.
And then same with Blade. And there was one in another movie we reviewed. I forgot the name of it, but there was one in that one too. And I'm like, you automatically get +1 from me. So I have to. This one wasn't full sexy though.
Okay.
But I could tell that like at night though, like on a Saturday night, this place is crazy. So like I give it a little bit of that because he went on a Thursday night. He went on a Thursday night, so it wasn't as crazy.
True.
You know, people are coming back from work, but like on Friday or Saturday night, you showing up in there? Mm-mm.
I'm so lame that honestly, all I could think about was all the health code violations this place probably had.
I mean, it's a witch place, so I think everyone like knew. Like, I don't think the government even knows it exists, right?
That or maybe looks different when they walk in. You know?
It's just a Starbucks.
Exactly. In any case, all these witches are trying to flee because they see the witch killer there. One of these witches is named Miranda, and is played by Amy Carrero, who was recently in a Critical Role miniseries, to bring it all back around. She's the one that's telling Chloe, "You need to get out of here." And Chloe's like, "No, not you too. Come on, just stay." I didn't realize that Chloe owned the place until she said so. Because I'm like, wow, if I worked at a place and everyone's running because like the fucking murder man is here, I ain't staying to protect.
Oh yeah, Rose
property.
Leslie is her name. And you texted me the other day about Kit Harington, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, about Eternals. You're like, I watched Eternals, and you mentioned Kit Harington.
Kit Harington was in
Guess who Kit Harington's married to?
Vin Diesel.
Close, Rose Leslie.
Really? She's in the... Oh my god.
Yeah, but she's in
Nice.
Game of Thrones, and that's how they met.
Makes sense.
But she's awesome. I actually
Makes
really like her
sense.
character in Game of Thrones. One of my favorite characters. So when I saw it in it, I thought she was just going to be a like cameo, not a cameo because this was before her career blew up. But like I thought she was just going to be in this one scene, and like I was happy that she was in it throughout because I was like, oh, I get to see some of her early work before she plays this character in Game of Thrones. But
There we
I
go.
always thought she was cool. So
It's still crazy to me that we watched Kit Harington's first movie and it was Silent Hill Revelation
I
3D.
I know. I don't know. Let me look. I'll look into. Keep going, but I'll look into her career, see if this was
Sure.
her first movie, because that'd be hilarious that we watched the first movies of two people.
A power couple's first.
Yeah, power couple.
All right.
No, she was in
Everyone
a
is
movie
gone.
Honeymoon. Never mind.
Well, that was fast.
Well, I guess she
Okay.
was in Game of Thrones before this, so like I guess technically this is a movie debut more than not debut, but she was in it from 2012 to 2014. So never mind. Timelines mixed up.
Everyone is gone, but a witch who is most likely the woman running the place is still there. Her name is Chloe, but we don't find that out until later. Calder wants to buy a memory potion at any cost. 500, 5,000, 50,000, whatever. She sells it to him as a cherry, and he enters the Matrix. And I love this. Because, like, and I'm going to tell you this right now. He picks up this cherry, and he just puts it in his mouth. And I'm watching, I'm like, dude didn't even swallow it. He doesn't want to swallow the prop. Like, this is lame. This looks so obvious. And he didn't actually swallow it. Like, oh,
So
okay.
he played on your own expectation.
Yeah.
I like that.
I'm like, really? They can't just, like, give it to, like, a candy he can just swallow? Like,
Cherries
really,
aren't even that
Vin?
bad. Like I get like you have a tart cherry once in a while or something, or maybe some people aren't picky eaters. But like if it's like I'm a
looks
picky
sticky
eater,
and candied,
I don't love
but
to
yeah.
eat cherries. But like if I had to do it for a scene, I'll be like, okay, whatever, just eat it.
It's a cherry. But it has a pit in it. Although if it enters your stomach, I guess you didn't break any teeth. There he sees the beginning of the movie And as he gets to right after he died, he's yanked out by a bearded man who had been watching in various scenes throughout the movie.
Who I thought was going to be like from his
past.
Yeah, because he just had that Viking vibe to him.
Yeah, no. Instead, he just has like a Hell's Angels, but not dressed the way kind of look.
Hell's
you know.
You need more tattoos, I think, but yeah.
Yeah. Calder breaks his own hand and begins to fight with the bearded guy, but gets warped back into the memory, and the witch, Chloe, tries to help him. Bearded guy gets away after he sets the place on fire, and everyone finally leaves. It's kind of neat. She's like stealthing around in the bar. She tries to wake him up. She does. When everyone leaves.
This is the second time his hand has been hurt, because he got stabbed earlier in his hand, and now he like had to break his hand to get out of the handcuffs.
Yeah.
I have a question. I don't know if that
Sure.
Like, you're not going to know the answer, but so there's a question for everybody. Assuming you can't feel pain, and you'll be fine afterwards, generally. Could you actually pull your hand out of a handcuff?
I mean, yeah.
How he did that? Like, could you like pull hard enough that your hand just shatters?
Breaks. Probably. The pain threshold is obviously what prevents you from doing that.
We'll have to Mythbusters that at some point.
I will not. The witch is named Chloe, and she's at her probably extremely expensive studio apartment in New York City. It gets
looks
all
nice,
spooky.
But yeah, it's a studio, so it's
big.
probably still $3K.
Because it's huge.
At best.
It gets all spooky, and she's pulled into some creepy realm. But Calder saves her, and she wakes up in his very, very expensive penthouse. Motherfucker gets to look over Central Park.
Yeah.
120. Very gaudy, though. Very, very gaudy. Calder and Dolan, Quack, are trying to figure out who Bearded Guy is. Belial, or Belial, but it's supposed to be pronounced Belial.
Yeah, that's like
Vin Diesel keeps saying Belial. And I'm like, no, Vin Diesel.
I always heard it's Belial.
Same.
Beelzebub, Belial, yeah.
Lord of Lies, Belial. I don't know. And Chloe says her friend Miranda has a stash of the stuff she needs to make another memory cherry.
Hot.
Also, by the way, a little fun fact here, because I actually don't really have like any facts for this movie. I basically said all but this last one. In one of the trailers, there's a cut scene that isn't in the movie where the two of them kiss. And it's cut.
Interesting.
Because yeah. Because that's not the relationship like they have at all in the movie.
Yeah.
So it was probably like out of place. And like, hey, Americans don't need to see this in every single movie. Like American films and stuff like
it's almost like a guy and a girl sometimes just could be like close buds, and that's okay. You know what I mean? Like, I do agree. I'm glad, because I was waiting for it to happen, because like there was a couple moments where I'm like, if they're gonna do it, they're gonna do it right here. And then they don't, and I'm like, cool. My bro's 800 years old. Like,
yep.
That's another question. If you live forever, does your libido change?
You either get bored or you just keep finding new shit.
So fucking messed up.
Hey, you know what is messed up? Not dying. They head to Miranda's plant place, and I paused the movie to read the phone, and it said Twitch, which is actually the evil version of Twitter. Sorry, I just meant Twitch is actually just regular Twitter. It said like, Miranda retwitched your Twitch. Calder is an evil fascist. Blah 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 blah. I'm like,
I remember when Twitch came out. It was out by now. So yeah, that's weird why they would use that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just obviously witch Twitter.
Or Witcher.
Witches need to have their own. Yeah. They head out the back and find Miranda dead, and Belial calls them on the phone to gloat. So, haha, I did it. After licking their wounds, they head to a fancy witch place full of nice runway models to get some plants they need. And this is where, like, and again, I'm not trying to nitpick this movie that I just think is simply a movie. If these plants are this hard to come by, then he needs to resort to asking a favor from someone like this. Like, lady wasn't charging enough for her memory potions if she said $500.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Maybe, yeah, it makes it seem like
Crazy.
either it's a skill thing, and it's both a skill thing and an ingredient thing, but it seemed more like on the
Yeah.
ingredient side for this.
Yeah.
And that's
Who
why if
has
your
the
girl makes you a dream memory drink, you know that she's the one for you. Remember that,
Yep.
kids.
There they see the head witch, and she tricks Calder into a dream. Chloe gets them out, and they beat the guys, and then they leave. And this is what you were saying, like, all the runway models, they were actually old as fuck. But they had nice magics to make them not be old. But here's my thing, Devin.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I am speaking this as a man that does not wear makeup, right? Has no intentions on wearing makeup, and does not pass judgments on the reasons why people of any, size, shape, and appearance would wear makeup. But I'm assuming that the idea is to hide imperfections, make yourself look pretty, maybe hide things so people don't know that you don't look 100% the way you're presented. If all these motherfuckers are old as shit, they're all wearing the makeup, they all know each other, everyone's a fucking liar.
Unless the people there,
So,
not like the people like on the runway taking photos and stuff. Maybe those are people. But like, why do the fuck do you care?
yeah,
You have fucking magic, bro. Like, if I had magic,
you can just kill people.
if I had magic, well, they can't because they know that's against the law or the rules or whatever.
They could kill each other.
I'm just saying, like, if I had magic, I wouldn't worry about what people think.
That's true.
All right.
If I had money, I don't care.
I
What people
can
think
dream my past again.
Actually, you know what? I am going to challenge that, because I just said, as like an analogy, if I had money, I wouldn't care what people think. But the most sensitive motherfuckers are rich white dudes. So, you know what? Maybe that doesn't apply to people with magic too. Maybe they would be just as
Maybe,
as
probably.
sensitive.
I'm probably being, yeah.
Yeah, but like, she was put in a dream because there was burial dirt in his drink or whatever.
Which probably,
Gross.
for me, would taste like both like rotting flesh, but maybe a hint of incense. A little bit of, and
It probably tastes a lot like clay. I don't know.
or more sandy though. I imagine like burial dirt is a little more sandy. I guess it depends where you're buried.
Yep. I like to. They don't kill anyone here. They just get rid of their young charms and make them old. But they leave. As Chloe tells Calder she's a dream walker, that's a proper noun, we cut to Max the Warlock getting punished by Belial.
At least she's not a
And we
dream
cut
warrior.
Right back. What's that?
Oh, you don't know?
Humor me.
It's from Nightmare on Elm Street. It's like the fourth movie or whatever. And then there's
Dude, I haven't seen any of
this
those.
great 80s hair metal band that did a song called Dream Warriors for that movie, and it's so cheesy, but it kind of slaps. So just go look it up. Someone,
I won't.
somewhere, look it up.
Okay.
worth it.
Somewhere, look it up. Meanwhile, again, Calder takes Chloe to a mural of witches that just is somewhere, and says that dreamwalkers, such as herself, can make his memory without emotion.
It's in like the place where the golem took the dude. It's in the same area, but like further in the back.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was like legit under a bridge.
It's a museum. Museum of Natural Witchery.
And this is when I wrote down my realization. All I wrote is, where is Dolan? I feel like this movie started to set up the idea that it was Vin Diesel and Elijah Wood buddy cop style through like this detective case, and he's immediately replaced by
Yeah, I wish she was in it more
Chloe.
with them. I wish they had, because I
And
think
it's
they had
kinda
some.
lame.
I think they had some good scenes together, and I wish we got more. Because, like I said, we were shocked like that this exists.
And they don't really do much with them.
Yeah, and they kind of had their couple of cool moments, but then they just never. He isn't really in it until the end. I think he has like a conversation here and there, but it's very, very brief.
They enter Calder's memory and find that the Witch Queen was never killed. The first Dolan, quack, spared the heart to spare Calder. I think.
Yeah, because he realized when he was testing it, like he was putting the knife through it, and This was like really spooky, and I didn't like it. Where like he's a skeleton Vin basically starts screaming like horrifically, and it's just like he realizes real quick like, oh, they're tied to one another, and that's why he tells him, oh, I did it, it's destroyed, just so he could.
But here's the thing. I could not tell in the stoic face of this first Dolan whether or not he was sparing Calder to spare Calder, or because he realized he could use Calder. They could use Calder. Because that's definitely what Vin Diesel's character's called here. His impression of, you guys betrayed me. You lied to me. You know what I mean? I'm the weapon, so to speak. But, like, at the beginning of that scene, I'm like, oh, he just doesn't want to kill. Well, maybe not. It's tough.
Yeah,
he doesn't confide in anyone.
Yeah.
Clearly.
I mean, I think at the very least, like, him feeling that he's been lied to maybe is less on the first one and more on the other ones for not telling him at any point.
For keeping it for 800 years.
Yeah. You could still put blame on the first one, but I think that's more blame on the 89th guy or whatever number it is. You know what I mean? That, like...
Sure. We're on 37 with Elijah Wood, but yeah.
You know what I mean?
Any point in the chain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Even Michael Caine's character, like, somehow gets a pass at the end, and I'm like, bro, he's in on it too.
Yeah.
Lily was watching
this
as
movie.
the
This
swarm.
movie has lots of suspense of disbelief. Oh, I have a comment about that too when we get there with the swarm.
The
of
mummy swarm.
Plague. Oh, in any case, Belial is sacrificing Max to summon the Witch Queen, and Calder assaults Dolan. And I audibly said, "Hey," when Vin Diesel like thrusts Elijah Wood up against the wall. I'm like, "Hey, don't do that." I didn't like
because Elijah Wood is just like this very like smaller, thinner guy, so I'm worried that he would break. That Vin Diesel could accidentally break him. Not saying he's soft. I'm sure Elijah Wood filmed 3 Lord of the Rings movies, so he's not. But like he just has that like, since he's such a smaller guy, he does have that vibe of like, I might break him if I hug him too hard.
He
I
was looking good in his like white turtleneck though.
Oh yeah, he was killing it. By the way, he should wear more priest stuff.
Yeah. Calder leaves to find the queen and sees Max at the tree, but he is tricked by Belial and the Witch Queen is reborn. I love the fact that in the beginning of the movie they were saying like pierce with iron, set alight with fire, or whatever they say, like that's how you kill a witch, and the modern day equivalent that is the shotgun. Because it's basically both.
Yeah.
Right? But nope. Shotgun no match for tricks. And they fight. He was able to kill Belial, the bearded man, and I completely forgot that I guess it would have been him that cursed old Dolan, because we cut and old Dolan is alive again, and they realize only now, 800 years later, that it's a bad idea to only have one witch prison where they send everyone there.
It also kind of, for me, implied that maybe some witches who like worked with them were in on it. That like we're like setting this up for the long haul, so that like that when she does come back, she has all of the pieces she needs in one spot.
Right.
But I feel like they could have added a character.
We created the largest coven in history.
Yeah, like I feel like they could have added more to that idea, because I think it's a cool idea that like but I think that like make one of the witches at that first trial there where the guy was getting taken by the golem, like make one of them more suspicious or something, that like they were hiding something. You know what I mean? Like we're like, they've been in on it too the whole time. Like they've been wanting us to capture and round up all the witches just so we can have an army together all at the same time.
And again, like I don't want to nitpick too much in these movie episodes that we do for our podcast, but like, dude, you look at real life scenarios. We know that it's a bad idea to throw everyone in one prison that are evil and bad. Obviously, you could talk in detail about, prison systems, but like just that basic idea of like you throw all of them in one basket, it's going to be real messy when they get out. You know what I mean? And you have witches doing that,
Batman,
like morons.
Arkham Asylum has always been like that kind of thing where it's like
right.
You put the Joker and the Riddler and all the other killers in there, and they come out.
Yeah, but then all the normal people, they go to Blackgate. Oh wait, the same issue then happens because you put all the regular people there too. Oh my god. Calder.
I wanted to
leaves.
say her entrance, by the way, was cool. I did like how like she basically came out of the other guy's like.
Yeah, she kind of
body.
like wiped his skin away like it was makeup or something.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Calder gets his old sword and hopefully some guns, because I saw a lot of them. And Chloe and New Dolan head out. They meet. I was kind of surprised that Vin Diesel didn't just hand either one of them a gun. We know that Elijah Wood has a pistol with him. Chloe has a dagger. Like, yo, I get it. We don't need to specialize in a pistol. You point and shoot. It's like a camera. You know how it works.
I want to bet that if I gave you a handgun and I told you to shoot, I bet you wouldn't be able to shoot it.
I'd be way more protected than not having a handgun.
I know, but like you're like acting like it's not that easy.
It's not that hard either.
How many guns have you shot?
It doesn't matter.
I've shot a
doesn't
couple.
matter.
It's hard. It's not easy.
I'm not talking about like playing Counter-Strike in real life.
Bro, you can't like pistols. Maybe like if you had some sort of like smaller pistol, maybe. But
Agree to disagree.
Guns aren't easy to shoot.
At the witch prison, the crew find out that the Queen's plan. What? At the
Queen's
I'm gonna
plan,
say this
yeah.
again. At the witch prison, the crew finds the witches. What the fuck sentence did I write? I wrote, at the witch prison, the crew find out the Queen's plan and get to work. Okay, that actually makes sense now that I said it slower. She's making a plague. She's just making a plague. Everyone is chanting. We're splitting up, I guess. Chloe enters a dream to kill a dude mid-chant, who's that pedophile from before. And Calder kills the Sentinel. Because the Sentinel's like, I gotta put them back in the prison.
Hey,
But like,
get back in the prison.
yeah,
He says that.
that's my job. That's my job. Thing is reforming and blah, blah, blah. Team up, team up. Elijah Wood stands his motherfucking ground, easily shooting that handgun. And Vin Diesel just jumps through the thing, and that dies.
He squashes the bug that controls it or whatever. It's like a weird looking bug alien thing. I don't know.
As Chloe kills the dude in his dream, the plague swarm seems to die down, and Calder walks into The Last of Us. 100% looked like a specific
Bro, I
set
literally wrote
from
the
The Last
same
of
note.
Us.
I'm just like, I literally wrote, Vin Diesel is now in The Last of Us Part 2 or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
it looks verbatim.
Yep.
Honestly, I know they're already in the process. I think they're already in post-production. The Last of Us TV show. Whoever like designed that set, just bring them in on board. They already got the experience.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised too, because Last of Us came out in 2013.
Maybe it's some
If they
inspiration,
play in that
maybe.
first game, because there's a scene in that first game that I'm swear I'm like, is the bus is like in the same
General
location
location,
relation to
yeah.
some of the cars? I'm like, I climb up that bus and I jump over. Like, I remember this.
If
So
he
weird.
like got behind a vehicle when she was there and like had a brick in his hand,
and threw a brick,
yeah, then I've been like, yeah, this is they just straight up
yeah.
were inspired by.
this fucking annoying little girl's like, hey, or whatever.
Yeah, out of nowhere, there's like this one, like he's like got to protect this girl.
Yeah.
He's just like, blah, blah, blah.
Exactly. And I don't like that this future that the Queen claims is the future, because it suggests that all the witches can't use any of the technology or anything. They got to go back to the Witch Queen's like comfort zone of 800 years ago.
Well, I think it's not technology that they care about, or they don't care about the technology. They kind of hinted at this in the beginning. I think this is the reason why she looks organic, I guess, in the sense, or environmental.
She's got a spine coming out of the back of her head.
Well, I'm saying outside, like she's like made of tree bark and shit, and bugs, like nature. So I think the whole thing is like their dream world is that it's just nature. There is no
Ugh.
humans.
Ugh.
So I think that's their.
Bitch, that was 800 years ago. Let it go.
I think even then, that's why she said she made the plague, was because she doesn't like their kind and what they do to their world, aka I think the environment. Once again, if you're gonna do a theme of like nature versus man, you need to establish it a bit more. So
Yeah. She didn't just a genocidal Nazi. That's
eco-fascist. That's the
yeah.
That's like the thing right now. Eco-fascist. Thanos is an eco-fascist.
Sure. Calder fights the Witch Queen, but as soon as it looks like he's about to win, Frodo betrays us. Turns out he's a witch, I think.
No, he's not a witch, but
he doesn't have any magic, but his parents were, and he wants to be one too.
Yeah. He basically begs for her to give him, after like he saves the day, he asks for,
yep.
And she's like, I don't care, you just were stupid. He gets devoured by bugs or whatever.
Yeah. The queen kills Dolan, and the plague is released. And this is scary as fuck.
That's
and I love this too. We see this from Michael Caine's perspective, staring out of Vin Diesel's bedroom window. I think. And you just see these swarms of bugs. And as soon as it starts, all of a sudden you hear a siren. I'm like, yo, you people are on the jump. You're like, I see bugs. Turn on the siren.
Shit, put on tornado warning, I guess, in New York City.
Exactly.
Air raid siren.
Calder faces off once more and wins the day. But at what cost? Calder must kill the heart. But will it kill himself? But it will kill himself. That's what I meant to write.
Well, no, he gets, because he was on the ground like all, we thought he was dead. And he basically does the I'm too mad to die, which we all like around here. Everyone loves a good I'm too mad to die moment. I hope that's how I go. Is that I'm like, I won't die, and then I'm going to beat up whoever I need to beat up, and then die.
Okay. I mean, I
like
won't let
Logan.
that happen. I'll just kill you, but sure.
But yeah, anyways, go ahead.
Oh, I thought you had
No, that
more
was
to
it.
say.
That was it.
Okay.
I just wanted to
Sure.
say that, like, I want to add that detail in that. Like, it did look like he was dying, and then he just all of a sudden he's like, nah,
Just Joe Rogan veins pops
Yeah.
out of his forehead, and he gets back up. But he's like, well, I'm gonna have to die because I can't let this happen again. And Chloe says there's even more bad guys, and that he needs to be alive to see all that. Okay. And so he takes the heart with him and lives to see another day. He's got Michael Caine and Chloe to help him.
I think it was not saying that he needs to see it, but like, who's gonna fight? The reason they're basically at a stalemate of just like, he's gonna indefinitely be alive forever. He needs to kill witches or capture them, whatever. I think at this point, I think you just kill them. But like, there's always gonna be too many witches. Even though he mentions at one point in the movie that like, I had all the time in the world, I easily could have killed all of them, but I didn't, because he has a heart, I guess. But
because he's not a fascist,
yeah,
I guess.
But yeah, basically, it's like if he kills that, then like there's still witches out there, and like without him, they're defenseless.
Well, it's not the witches. It's because she says, and I think she's talking about the scene when she's in her apartment. And then she's like dragged into some other world, and Vin Diesel saves her or whatever, because she sees something there. And I think that's what she's referring to here, because she says, I've seen more evil and dark forces when I was blah, 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 blah. And I think she's talking about there. But it's just such a last minute, like, oh, we need to set up for a sequel. Fuck, we need to set up for a sequel type of scenario. So that's why I write down at the very end here, he's got Michael Caine and Chloe to help him do whatever happens in the sequel that may or may not happen. The end, because that's just how it ends. I'm gonna drive, and then she drifts around a corner. You are getting arrested, girl.
Fast and Furious.
Like, yeah, and that's the movie.
I wish he had a Dodge, what you call it in there.
A Charger.
Just
He's driving an Aston Martin.
Just because Fast and Furious. Like, I think it'd just be hilarious. Be like, is this in the same world? Could you Maybe that's how. That's how Toretto's lived so long, is that he can't die because he's 800 years old.
He's the last witch hunter.
But he can't. That's like his. He like totally like pretends it doesn't, like, magic isn't real. That'd actually be hilarious. I would love that as a sequel, where it's actually.
That's how he's been able to cheat this whole time.
Yeah, like I want that as a sequel for this movie. I want it to be directly tied into the Fast and Furious universe, and it's his family figuring out that he's a fucking witch hunter and has magic. And that's how they've been living this whole time.
Yeah. Right before the credits roll, we do basically get the sense that he's kept the heart in his
in his
cool vault thing. It uses his ring to open up, which is cool. And I mean, that's the best place he could ever store, is where he
Could have put in his
would store
wallet.
his own stuff. Sure.
So you always need
I mean,
your
it's
wallet.
a huge heart too. That thing was big. That thing was real big. Yeah, I mean, like, we're done with the movie now. I'll say this, like, I would love a sequel. Now that I know that what's her name is in Game of Thrones, I feel like she would be in the sequel just because she's not a random actor. You know what I mean? I feel like they could get her back, or they would seek her out. I don't know if Michael Caine would come.
She
back.
actually was in a video game too, called Echo, in 2017. I try to look at whether she's in a lot of TV series.
I think that's a VR game by Insomniac. Or Ready at Dawn. It was either Insomniac or Ready at Dawn. Who made Echo?
Bolton's in it. I'm trying to look it up.
I know there's a game called Lone Echo that's a VR game.
Made in Denmark. I know I've seen it before. It's like your character, I think, is either blind or to something of that effect, and it has like a...
Oh. That was the I think that's that if I'm remembering this correctly, the very unfortunate game that came out with the, hey, it's a first person game, but you're blind, so you see things through echolocation or sound, and then immediately another game came out doing the exact same thing and was way better looking, just perceived wise in trailers, and everyone said, oh yeah, let's play that game instead.
Yeah, it's called Echo, I think. But she's been in a lot of TV series since. She's been in Good Fight and Vigil. Okay. She's also in the process of doing something with the time traveler's wife. And, she was just in Death on the Nile, which I know is coming out. That movie with a couple other people, but a lot of big name actors. But yeah, I think she would come back. I don't see why she wouldn't. I think Michael Caine is the one that, like, I'm iffy
That's what
on.
I was saying. I don't think he would come back. But at the same time, I can see him just being convinced to do whatever. Sure.
I feel like he's at... I mean, we don't know the guy. But, like, if I'm at that age, and, like, I would just take any acting roles I can get. Like, if you love the craft that much, or love the art so much, you know what I mean? At your age, because, like, a lot of people go... It's just unfortunate that's how it is. But, like, you're going to be a stereotypical character. Like, he isn't supposed to be, like... I mean, he's an old man in this, but, like, they don't... He's not just being like the old guy. We need an old man in this. It's more of just like he's just the next in line.
He very much is just doing the Alfred role again.
Yeah.
But I will say this: he's been in worse movies. In recent times, he's been in worse movies. So I can easily see him.
He seems like
coming
he
back, and
just
I can
from what I know of him,
coming
he just
back.
seems like a guy who just loves to be in movies, no matter what they are.
Yeah,
so like
he probably just says a why not.
Yeah. So
you know. Vin Diesel loved working with him. I can just tell.
Dude,
he probably also loved working with Elijah Wood.
Who wouldn't? I mean, if
Exactly.
Elijah Wood like called us right now and said, "Hey, can I be your permanent co-host?"
I say you can replace me if you want. This can be yours.
Like, yeah, you want? You actually, we'll just do whatever you want, Elijah. Well, hey, do you want to do a podcast on my career? I'll be there. Sure, we'll boost your ego.
Yeah. And we would do that with Vin Diesel. So, honestly, if right now Vin Diesel like just reached us out on Twitter or the email or whatever and said, hey, I would like to basically do the show with you, it'd be like, yeah, we're scrapping what we're doing. We're starting from the beginning. And I know for a fact you would be with me on that. We're starting from the beginning.
Yeah.
We're going to pretend that we've never seen these movies.
Or, I mean, even if you just wanted to do like a shoot the shit show, 100%. I don't know what we talk about because I feel like we're at in a different world compared to him, but I think that's what would make it in.
Yeah.
Like, be like, oh, how was your day? Mine was kind of shitty.
Be like, so I was at this bar in San Antonio and blah, blah, blah. And then Nicolas Cage would be like, yeah, I worked a 9 to 5 and I came home,
it's like, no,
did a
you
couple
didn't,
bit
Nick.
of logo work, and that was it. So, cool, Vin Diesel. Tell us about the time you were blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
You know, it's just
exactly,
that conversation. Although I feel like if we had a topic to talk about, it would be awesome.
We could talk to him about weed, like we were talking about earlier. Be like, let's just all get high and just talk about weed.
One day we'll do this podcast in person. This is the only podcast that we haven't done in person. We've done Sonic Movie Show a couple times in person.
I'm telling
and
you,
like
gotta
all
do
the
that Corona
forms
Light.
we do. Yeah. He drank Corona Extra in Fast and Furious, the fourth one.
Yeah.
Which is what I drank last one I drank was Corona Extra. I liked it. I'm not a beer guy. I'm not even an alcohol guy. But I bought it when I was visiting New York, and I can actually buy alcohol at a grocery store. Because I can't in at least this county.
I'm telling you,
in Maryland.
I'm telling you need a Corona Light button. That's all you need.
Yeah.
Just press the button, you got a 12-pack at your door.
I don't think I've had the light one. I think I've only had a regular.
What do
it's
beer?
A 6-pack for.
I was gonna say, what is beer?
Cans
shows
would
you how
come
much beer
in like
I've
12,
got. I don't remember how much.
But like the Corona bottles is what you really want, and those come in.
Do they come in cans?
Yeah, you can buy in cans.
It's like I've never seen them in a can.
Devin, you can buy like a 32-pack of beer cans.
I know, like Bud Light or whatever, like garbage.
Yeah.
You just get that for like.
I actually do like Bud Light.
Of course, you fucking.
I like Bud Light.
Bro,
those are the only beer I would drink.
Well, I think the next tier of like just like white trash beer is just Budweiser. Like when if I see someone drinking a Budweiser and they're like, they look like a hick, I'm just like.
I think of like
they
honestly,
love NASCAR.
I think of like Jenny. I think of like Jenny Light or Natty Light as like the real hick trash. I don't know. But did you hear? I think it's Sam Adams is teaming up with Mountain Dew to make an alcoholic Mountain Dew.
That's gonna kill someone.
Someone told me that today, and I'm like,
that's gonna kill someone. We already
that
Four Loko
sounds
already kills people
awful.
currently.
Yes, the caffeine and alcohol is a bad combination.
Let's not do. You don't need to do it. You don't need to do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go drive my car
and video game at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so that was The Last Witch Hunter. Witch Hunter. Yeah.
No,
it's 'cause I'm tired.
No, like I said, I like this movie, and I think it has some cool stuff in it, and I think it has potential for a at least good sequel where they can elaborate more on things, and I think solidify.
I would hope so.
More things, because I think it has potential. Like I think this is a pretty cool idea. Like we've seen so many different witch and magic variations, whether it's a Harry Potter, a Lord of the Rings, a Beowulf, whatever it is, Underworld, whatever it is. But I feel like this has potential. Like I think they laid the groundwork here for a good sequel. But the longer I feel like a sequel isn't made, the more I'm like not confident in it, because that's just how movies tend to go. Where the longer something's delayed,
right,
the worse.
But there is hope. I mean, that's how we've gotten Riddick sequels, is we wait forever and they happen.
And the last Riddick movie was, I think, the best one. So like maybe
for sure,
maybe this is
you have someone as passionate as Vin Diesel about the works as he's in, whether they be good or bad, and he just can make them happen if he's persistent enough, which I appreciate.
And he has the
One of
money.
the reasons why we're even doing this. Yeah. What was I going to say? For me, this movie, it suffers a lot from a lot of other things do this too, where it's like, here's this high fantasy concept, and it's in the modern day, and it's two different worlds. So you can see how this scenario is run in the witch version, and here's this with witches, and all of it just feels like it's just, we're in the writer's room. All right, runway, like fashion show thing. Make that witches. Okay, well, they could be old and the makeup is magic. Like, that just feels like they come up with the ideas as they're writing the movie, as opposed to like, hey, here's a general idea of how do witches interact in modern society in ways that feel like there's a history there, and not the scene calls for a bakery. What would be spooky? Bugs. You know what I mean? That's how this movie kind of felt as they bounce around. It feels like it's just showing us like a shock value of like, here's the witch bar. Here, here's this, here's that. And again, like, that movie isn't bad, but like it could be a lot cooler if it like felt more well thought out. I do appreciate the like detective follow the lead, and this is a murder mystery that I wasn't expecting. I thought this was just like gonna be a Van Helsing type of scenario of like, man needs to kill witches, you know what I mean? And he does. So I appreciate that, but at the same time, I've also seen that happen in these types of movies before, even games. Remember The Wolf Among Us by Telltale? It was a similar type of idea, where it was like a mystery type of sleuthing detective stuff. So for me, overall, the movie is just simply okay, but I don't hate it. And I think, Vin Diesel's wise, he does do I think it's to Michael Caine. He does it to Michael Caine when they're sitting on the bench in the cemetery at the end of the movie. The same kind of quivering smile he did at the end of Fast 5 when he tells The Rock, "No, you won't." The Rock says, "I'll be seeing you soon, boy," or whatever he says. He does, like, Vin Diesel had fun on this movie, and he got to work with Michael fucking Caine, and Elijah fucking Wood. Sorry, I have to add that in there. So he looks like he had fun in this movie, even though like it's a very typical Vin Diesel role of like, I'm just too smart, just too strong, just too ahead of the game, and I just don't die. Like you're too mad to stay dead is a very, like, this is a Vin Diesel character.
Yeah.
It just is.
Yeah.
So of course they cast Vin Diesel as the Vin Diesel character.
I'm just happy we got something that isn't science fiction. Like, because it's either we either had Riddick
right.
or Fast Car beat you up man. You know what I mean? Like, I'm glad we have like a third thing now. I mean, we had a couple different roles like early on in his career, but like up into this, like the last, I feel like half year. And I'm not.
Yeah.
Even I am Groot. Even Groot, even Groot, I would argue is science fiction. It's just a voice acting role. Once again, not diminishing voice acting, but like I feel like he was up until this point, we haven't had something like different from him, and so like I'm glad we got something different. And I just feel like he works well with the cast in this movie, and I think he helps this movie for sure. I think it's one of the reasons I like this movie, because I actually like his comedy in this movie, his delivery in this movie, compared to some points in the Pacifier, or even in some of the Fast movies where there's supposed to be a joke, and I'm just like, ha.
Yeah.
When this one, I'm like, I actually like laughed at parts. I'm like, oh, that's funny. Oh, that was clever.
Okay.
And that's props to the writers. Also props for his delivery of those jokes, because, I mean, we've seen him at his lows, we've seen him at his best. You know what I mean? So I feel like this is,
that's true,
at the very least, like in the higher tier
low
for me.
Okay.
And he did a lot of stunts too, so that's cool. That aren't freaking jumping off a car or.
Yeah, that's the good shit.
I know, but like it's just
shit.
different. I'm saying this is a different role for him.
Yeah.
Despite what his character is, I still feel like the role, like his setting that he's in and whatnot, is different. So I like that.
God, imagine him instead of what's his name as The Witcher.
I don't know if I could handle him in The Witcher. Like, Henry Cavill does a great job at like basing it off like what you see in the game and in the books. That I'm like, I don't know if I can handle. Not that he would be bad, but I just think it would be. I just don't know if I could take it in the same way. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just like what his character is supposed to be. I'm like, he'd make Geralt too badass. Like, Geralt's very humble, or at least tries to become across as humble. And I feel like if he did it, he'd find a way to make Geralt be like, nope, I'm the best. And he does have moments of like that, but like it's a much more. He says it in a much more humbled way, and I think Henry Cavill does a great job of like presenting that. And like,
I still gotta watch that show.
I'm still finishing up season 2, but
now imagine if Vin Diesel was in Race to Witch Mountain. I thought this movie was.
We should just watch that one, and then we just pretend that it's.
We
Vin
just
Diesel.
pretend. Now let's talk about the other thing for this episode.
So you want to rank both at the end? I like that.
I think we always do that.
Have we? I don't remember, but
I
like what we're doing.
Appreciate it. Feel free to take the reins at any time, though. Let's talk about D&Diesel, the Critical Role short that is essentially like part of the marketing for this movie, Last Witch Hunter.
So how quickly did it come out? Was it after the movie was in theaters? Was it?
It was probably while it was in theaters.
Because it's like a quick turnaround, and like it's not like Witch Hunter is based off a book. You know what I mean, or something that they could base it off of in terms of like the D&D stuff. And we'll talk about it in a sec, but like how much of like they know about the character and how much he shows and all that. So I'm glad we watched the movie first, because if we watched this first going in the movie, I think our expectations like would have been completely different. Just gonna say that.
I did start to watch it like a year ago when I was getting into Critical Role. Be like, oh, he did one with Vin Diesel, and I started watching it, and like I just kind of hopped off. And then I learned that it's The Last Witch Hunter. I'm like, okay, makes sense. And I just never went back because there was actual Critical Role to watch instead of this weird thing. I know that Matthew Mercer, the DM of Critical Role and the DM in this thing here, made the Witch Hunter class for Vin Diesel here. And after this was done, he took that class and took the copyright out, spruced it up a bit more, gave it a better theme, and it's his own class called the Blood Hunter, which is official, unofficial, like, when you go and you look up on stuff, you can easily find Blood Hunter stuff, especially since there's now 2 official Dungeons & Dragons source books that are by Critical Role. So obviously it is official now, so to speak. So, like, if you think about it, that class was made for Vin Diesel. Yeah, I mean, I read that Matthew Mercer initially wrote for a session that would be like 3 hours, and then was told it actually needs to be 30 minutes. We're the Nerdist, and we only want to do 30 minutes.
To be fair,
so like it's shortened
for what
down.
This is trying to be, I think it's totally fine being at that length. Because if it was 3 hours, like, we love Vin Diesel.
Well, there would have been more of a structure, I feel like, to the whole thing.
Well, I just mean, like, if the whole goal of this is to hype up the movie,
Last Witch Hunter,
you're going to put something out that's longer than the movie. It just seems a little, like,
fair.
You know what
That's
I mean?
fair.
Like,
that's fair.
So, like, I feel like
That's
I
fair.
think this was a good length where, like, it did a quick story, had some fun moments, and you know what I mean.
Even left it open for a sequel, so to speak. It starred obviously Vin Diesel as his own character Calder. It starred Laura Bailey as her character Vexalia from the first campaign of Critical Role. She just played herself.
I was going to
from
say,
there.
I'm like, did they make up new characters, or is this just the same?
And Travis Willingham played Grog, his barbarian from first campaign of Critical Role. So this aired or whatever early on in that first campaign. They were like maybe a year into having it streamed, because they had been playing for 2 years before that campaign, and then 2 years into playing it, they started streaming it. A year-ish later, D&Diesel. So they're even still early into the campaign for what the videos, the episodes are. But then the other 2 people, Jessica Chobot, and I don't know who the other guy is. I forget. I don't know if they also play D&D in their own time, and those are also their own characters, or if they made them up, but that was those 4 of them there.
Yeah, one of them was named DuPont.
Yeah.
Just such a dumb name, but I love it.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, it was, and obviously you can see from this how great of a DM Matthew Mercer is for just
I was gonna say
being
he's
able
the
to
one
just
that
go
really
with
stood
anything.
out in there. And he also does a good job of really selling the scene and like really gets into it compared to I think everyone else there. Like I feel like he brought a different energy, and it's like unapologetic energy. Like you maybe
he was ready.
Like maybe some people I could see like being like, oh, it's cringe or whatever. Like no, he commits to it, and like you can't hate on that. I just and if you say it's like whatever, like you're just not living, bud. That's how like I legit look at that kind of stuff where I'm like, I can see like people who don't like D&D or don't give a shit about this kind of thing. They probably wouldn't watch this anyways, but if they did, like I can
get a good impression at least.
Yeah. Or if they don't like it, I think it's more of a like, wait, they're role playing as people, or oh wait, why is he acting? You know what I mean? Like I felt that like they are all even Vin Diesel to a certain extent were unapologetically like having fun. And I'm like, even if I don't like it or whatnot, like you can't hate on like that level of like they're having fun.
Yeah, and then that's what Critical Role feels like proper all the time. This is why it's super successful. And I think a lot of it is in part to his ability as a dungeon master, to on the fly go with whatever the direction the players are taking the story. And it's very tough to in a lot of situations see what was pre-planned or what is off the cuff, like instance, type of stuff. So he's good at it. But yeah, no, this was a obviously short story of Calder the Witch Hunter hires or gets help from 4 adventurers to go get rid of evil, and they go into the swamp and we gotta get rid of the evil here type of thing. They get an NPC in a house hires them to go hunt down the witches in the bog, and they fight some wraiths on the way, and then Vin Diesel like one-shots a witch and they all run away, and that's it.
He has 2 Chronicles, which
goes
is
on.
insane because like we've played off air here, and like I think I've rolled in like the year that we've played at this point, maybe like 4 criticals. You know what I mean? Maybe I've rolled 20s
tough.
on like perception or something. But I'm saying like in
for
combat
attacks,
specifically,
yeah.
like
Yeah.
I feel like they buffed his character up.
Or I mean, I don't know. I could easily. So first off, I will say. Well, actually, so prelude to the first off. Most of the spells I keep throwing around, there aren't attack roll spells. So like, I don't get the opportunity to roll for them a lot. But I will say too, critical role is often criticized because of how well it's done. That a lot of people think it is scripted because of that. So there is that element there that people already just assumed, like, oh, they had a rehearsal for every episode,
Maybe not
fucking
rehearsal,
4-hour
but,
rehearsal.
like,
people definitely think
hey,
that
you're gonna
that's
roll
not
a
true.
high number here, and like we'll just roll with whatever it says.
Yeah. Although there was a guy that was in with their group at for the first 20 episodes of them doing it streamed, who was cheating, and he also had issues or whatever, and he kind of left. But yeah, no, like I could see that maybe someone at Nerdist was like, Vin Diesel just kind of
But maybe not. I mean, it's hard to tell.
But I don't think so.
Because
I honestly don't think
like I
so.
said in the beginning of us talking about this, is that it feels like everyone there genuinely is having fun. Even Vin Diesel, who easily, and I wouldn't blame him. We know he likes D&D. If you listen to our past episodes, we know that he wrote an intro to one of the D&D manuals, like in the early 2000s, and he seems to really like it. And there's one clip that we'll talk about after too that I sent you, or that I found on YouTube. Where he definitely shows interest in it, but just taking all that out of mind, it's like he does seem to actually be enjoying it there. He doesn't seem. I think he's afraid to, like, at least my impression of it was like he was afraid to like kind of change up the dynamic too much between these people,
step on some toes.
So I think
or
he
something.
was a little bit more taken back. I think if you had him multiple days with him and like,
yeah,
I think he'd
like
obviously
full on playing.
He'd be more into it. Not saying he wasn't into it, but more like into character and whatnot. I think he was trying to see like play it out, because I don't think he wanted to fully geek out. It's kind of like, just filling out the room. But like,
Exactly.
but I could still tell, like, in everything we've watched, I think this is closest to Vin Diesel, even more than his Instagram shit. This felt like more of like who Vin Diesel is, like in this session for me. Like I was like,
yeah,
this guy, like I think you could just hang out with, and like he would just be there for you and like enjoy your time. You know what I mean? Like that's that kind of vibe I got from this, where he seemed to be having fun and enjoyed that everyone else was having fun as well. And it's like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, not much to it. I feel like
You basically explained the story in a good sentence there, which is fine, because it's like we
Right.
could spend the same 30 minutes describing each thing, but like
there was most of it was.
I just liked
combat.
at the end though, like they had, oh, we're gonna fight these 2 witches, it's gonna be this big thing, and he just immediately one shots the one witch, and he
other one
describes
runs.
it, and he describes how he does it too, and that was funny, and the other one just runs away because it's like, fuck that, like just one shot.
Yeah. Matthew Mercer always, when it's the last kill or whatever, and our friend David kind of does this too, always like says the thing died by saying, how do you want to do this, and like have you describe how you kill the thing. That's when you can bend the rules on how something may work, just because it's cool, because it's your moment, right? Yeah, Vin Diesel obviously gets it. He keeps saying critical though, when I feel like he should be saying natural 20. That's just me. But
He's also saying, I mean, it's called, the show is called Critical Role, or at least most of them are from that. So it's like,
yeah, but yeah, no, I feel like overall, I mean, it was fun. I mean, everyone had an energy and vibe. They definitely had, obviously, we're on the camera, even more so than Critical Role normally is, because it's like a bunch of like friends just always playing. So there's just that dynamic to it. It doesn't really have like the I'm on air, I'm on camera type of vibe sometimes.
yeah.
I don't know if it's just because they're just with Vin Diesel, and like there's definitely moments where it's like you just laugh at whatever Vin Diesel says, even if it was genuinely funny or not, type of air I got a little bit of. Or if this was just, hey, this is Nerdist production doing this, and they asked us to come and do it with them for Vin Diesel type of thing. But yeah, it definitely was good. I feel like everyone was good. Everyone played
Yeah,
their
I was
characters
worried
pretty
because
well.
of we know like I said, we know that we've heard that he's into D&D, but I was very worried that this was going to be kind of like what we got with some of the Riddick stuff, where it was just like that little that comic strip thing that they did, where as a teaser, where it was just like that was not that doesn't make me hype for the movie at all. You know what I mean?
Right.
Where I was worried that and once again, I'm glad we watched this after the movie, because I feel like no matter what, I think my expectations would have been different. But I'll say that I was worried because I thought he was just going to seem disinterested, or maybe just I'm here because I was told to be here. And we also see that video that we can, I guess, talk about now if you want.
Sure, bring it up.
So there's this clip that while I was searching for this video, I just typed in Vin Diesel Critical Role or something like that to that effect, and the fifth video down, there was a video of him doing a selfie, or a screenshot of him doing a selfie with, it looked like Mercer. I couldn't really tell who was in the background this time, but I'm I'll watch that after this because I don't want that to spoil or anything.
Sure.
But it looks a lot like his Instagram videos that I watch all of them, obviously, for the last year and a half.
It probably was from 2015.
Probably was. I didn't go back far enough, but after watching it, whatever, I click on it, and it's 3.5 minutes, but it's mostly one take. It was a weird video though, because it had an intro to person who's
it kind of felt like he was trying to prank them or something, shh, watch type of.
Oh no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the video itself, the person who
I'm
uploaded
sorry.
it had it's a weird he's into board games or something, but
Yeah,
it was weird.
I thought that was.
But
whoever
whatever.
uploaded it.
Whatever. But at least we have it, because maybe it isn't. Maybe it was on Instagram story or something, so it's gone after 24 hours. I don't know. But yeah, it did feel he does this a lot with all his videos. I feel like he kind of just. I don't think it's necessarily a good thing to do, but he'll just start recording something and be like, "Hey, here's me and my buddy John." You know what I mean? Whatever. If he knows these people, they probably already are cool with it. But there's moments on Instagram in general where I feel like he just he doesn't ask anybody. He just randomly will start filming. So I feel like this was kind of that a little bit, but it seemed like everyone was cool with it anyways, because they realized real quick that they were getting a shout out. But he goes out there, and by the way, I feel like there was 30 people here, which just shows how big the production crew was for this. Or at least maybe people's family were there. I don't know, but that'd be weird. So I think it's just a production crew. But yeah, he gave a shout out to everybody. He really loved Mercer, which, like I said, I feel like he stole kind of the show in this.
Right.
And this is coming from someone who hasn't watched really any Critical Role. I mean, I know generally about it from you and whatnot, but I don't know any of these people besides Vin Diesel and a little bit of Laura Bailey from video games, but I don't know how she acts in this thing too much. And I feel like he stole the show. So when he's giving him a shot, I feel like it was the same kind of thing where he's he was impressed by him, at least my interpretation of that. But he gave everyone a shout out there, and he's kept saying oh, I haven't played D&D in so long, and it was so good to do it. And he basically spoils it. I think this was before they dropped the episode, because it was after they filmed it, where he was just oh,
right, because there's clearly editing done that Nerdist probably did, I think, because Critical Role is always done live, so there's none of these overlays or anything like that, no cuts, until nowadays they pre-record them, but even then it's still all one take, and they'll just have character portraits pop up and it overlaid on top, and that's about it.
Yeah.
They don't do the hit to roll plus modifier. That was for this, and I think mainly because a good chunk of the people watching this don't play Dungeons and Dragons and don't know how it works, and therefore
need a visual kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, he gave a shout out, and he said how much he enjoyed playing, and he's I found new D&D friends to play with in LA, and
never came back though.
I mean, he does mention it there. He's because I'm busy, and he did a goofy voice too, which I thought was funny. I never wasn't expecting him to do that, but he mocked himself, basically being he's so busy all the time. Then he literally heads out the door because he has to go to a meeting, and he said he was meeting with I'm assuming studio people. He said something about Fast and Furious, so I'm assuming just
it would have been for 8.
Yes, I'm assuming it was producers and whatnot. Yeah, I thought that was just I was gonna say that I just thought it was interesting to see that, and we got basically a raw reaction from him of what he just recorded. And I'm glad that like we got to see that, because I think it adds a little bit more context. And we know that on Instagram in the last year or two that his kids play D&D with him and whatnot. So like,
yeah.
And at that point, remember he's like, I haven't played D&D in so long. So I wonder if like to a certain extent, this maybe inspired him and his family to start doing it, which would be fucking dope if that's the case. Because
Vin Diesel, come play with us.
Yeah, come play with
please.
us.
Oh my God, I won't be as good as a DM, but please.
But yeah, I just thought that video, it was like cool context, and also just shows how busy he is. And I think we forget that like even these millionaire actors, I mean, these like could quit. But like I think they like the craft and they're committed to doing it. But since he produces a lot of stuff, I bet you he's in a lot of fucking meetings. So
yeah, yep.
But he seemed, and we mentioned earlier too about him being baked. And now that I think about it, he was a little bit more like goofy like than he normally is in his videos. So I'm like, maybe he was a little stoned or something, or coming off a high or something like that.
He could have been. Someone could have just given him something.
It's LA, baby. Won't be surprised if everyone fucking smokes.
Yeah, so let's rank both of these things on our two lists. Folks at home can pop open the Twitter to see the current lists open. And please, you'll need a visual because there's 30 things on these so far. Yes.
Yeah, because even I need it every time, because I lose. Even when you're saying it, I still lose track.
And I think you have the most updated version of the spreadsheet. It should list all 30 things in the lists. But we have two lists: the movie ranking list and the Vin Diesel performance ranking list.
That's right, we got 30 now. Well, now we're going to get 32.
Yes. We're going to obviously do The Last Witch Hunter first. So let's start, and I'll read off the movie ranking list. I'm going to read the whole damn thing. This is
for like the movie as a whole. Not Vin Diesel could be part of the conversation, but this is like, did we like the movie? So for example, you're about to list them off, but the first one's Guardians of the Galaxy. We like that movie because of Vin Diesel and because of other various things like Thanos.
Sure. All right, so the movie ranking list is as follows. Number 1, Guardians of the Galaxy. I forget about that. That's number 1. Number 2, Saving Private Ryan. Number 3, Fast 5. Number 4, Fast and Furious 6. Number 5, Furious 7. Number 6, Triple X. Number 7, The Fast and the Furious. Number 8, The Iron Giant. Number 9, Riddick. Number 10, Awakenings. Number 11, Fast and Furious. Number 12, A Man Apart. Number 13, Find Me Guilty. Number 14, Boiler Room. 15, The Chronicles of Riddick. 16, Pitch Black. 17, The Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift. 18, Knockaround Guys. 19, Wheelman. 20, The Pacifier. 21, Babylon AD. 22, Los Bandoleros. 23, The Chronicles of Riddick, Assault on the Dark Athena. 24, The Chronicles of Riddick, Escape from Butcher Bay. 25, Multifacial. 26, The Chronicles of Riddick, Dark Fury. 27, Strays. 28, Wiz Khalifa featuring Charlie Puth, See You Again. Fuck, I forgot about that. 29, Fast and Furious Supercharged. And 30, Riddick Blindsided. The Last Witch Hunter I found to be okay. You higher than okay.
Yeah, I think I already know that the best way we're going to resolve this is I think we're going to have to meet at the middle.
So slightly better than okay.
We'll see. Maybe like where I have it might be where you have it. So I guess I say you go first, and then I'll say where I think a range. You can give me like, we usually do like a range of like 3 movies. So we'll start there, I guess.
I think that overall, and you're probably going to disagree with me, looking at this list, looking at what movies I feel like are the most similar to it in terms of just my like affection or lack thereof of this movie, and you're going to disagree probably with me on my own opinions. I feel like this is like the new number 20. I feel like this is right below Wheelman. I think Wheelman's a better game. This movie is a movie. I feel like this is just barely better than The Pacifier and only a little bit better than Babylon AD, which feels so similar to me like than this movie. Tokyo Drift, better than this. Pitch Black, better than this. Chronicles of Riddick, better than this. Personally, I'm sitting at just above The Pacifier, underneath Wheelman.
I think you're forgetting how bad Wheelman was. First off, like after
Wheelman
the
was
first
fun.
act, after the first 4 hours of that game, we started getting frustrated.
After 4 hours, the game was done.
For me, I think the highest I'd put it, like if I had to maybe a little overshoot a little bit, because I was thinking around 14 or 15. So like either below or above Boiler
So
Room.
you think it's better than the Chronicles of Riddick?
I found it more entertaining throughout. The first part of Pitch Black and the first part of Chronicles of Riddick, maybe more so Pitch Black, where like I just didn't care for the first part. We liked the second half of Pitch Black. I liked the movie throughout. There wasn't a moment where I was like, come on, get this over with, or there wasn't a moment where I want to see action, where I think like Pitch Black, I feel like it was just a lot of like slow dialogue with like that really meant nothing with like, I don't know. So I think at least I want to put it above Pitch Black. And then Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, I fucking hate that movie.
I feel like the Chronicles of Riddick feels like a more well thought out world.
Knockaround
than
Guys was
The Last Witch
fun,
Hunter.
but like it just felt like a late 90s movie.
I don't know why that movie is that high on the list, to be honest.
I just think it was because I think early on it was one of the first ones that like it was up higher, and then it's been getting knocked
Sure.
down.
Right.
And Wheelman, I liked the first couple hours that we played of it, but like I remember we sat at your place for felt like ever trying to get through to the end, and it was getting frustrating when like either bullshit was happening or the game's broken. So it was like
We had fun, don't lie.
and then the pacifier I thought
game
was
corny.
surprising, but like it was Disney for me. I don't like
Sure.
Disney comedy kid movies, so like for me, I was like, so that's
Well,
why
I
I think all
think-
those are below this movie, is because I found this more interesting. It's more up my alley, but I understand that like maybe it's not yours. So I think that's why like we have to meet in the middle. That's my like only way I think we could
Sure.
solve this.
So my version of all these sentences is I feel like the Chronicles of Riddick is a better thought out world that's more convincing in its craziness. Pitch Black is a much better like grounded Vin Diesel action movie in what he does physically. Tokyo Drift has Han, and it's just a classic, even though it might not be great. Knockaround Guys, I don't know why it's up high on this list. I wish that was number 29. Whatever. And Wheelman is just stupid fun. It just is. I think if we're gonna
See, I
meet in
think
the
you
middle,
like
it would
Han
be
more
17.
than me because like I can't name one line in that movie that he says. Like now that I'm thinking about it, I'm just like I don't know. I just don't like that movie. But I remember we put it high because it's
Wow.
like better than a lot of these other things. Like I agree where it is right now because there's a lot of
Okay, well, we're not debating any of these.
I know,
spots
but
on
I'm
the list
saying
right
I'm
now.
saying, but I like this more than that, and that's why like
All right, well, then it's number 17. Can we shake hands at it's the new 17?
I'll take that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, deal. I will read 10 to 20 for you.
Okay.
20 on the list, or 10, yeah, I'm going up. 10 on the list is Awakenings, 11 Fast and Furious, 12 A Man Apart, 13 Find Me Guilty, 14 Boiler Room, 15 The Chronicles of Riddick, 16 Pitch Black, 17 The Last Witch Hunter, 18 The Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift, 19 Knockaround Guys, and 20 Wheelman. Now, is this movie a Vin Diesel banger in terms of his performance? Let's read off the Vin Diesel performance ranking. This is solely about how well Vin Diesel does. Whether or not he carried it isn't necessarily a huge factor, but it is a factor.
He also could be directing. We have stuff on here that he directed or produced.
Correct. His involvement.
Maybe
his
one day we're gonna have
performance.
music. I mean, we will have music one day for sure.
We will,
But there
yes.
might be new
we
music.
We could technically do his singles as standalone things, but I don't think that's fair. All right, Vin Diesel performance ranking is as follows. Really take a deep breath, do all 30 in one run. I could probably, if I don't say the numbers and I just say the names, I could probably do it.
If I get to like 23, yeah.
Specific number. Number 1, Triple X. Number 2, The Fast and the Furious. Number 3, Fast and Furious. Number 4, Find Me Guilty. Number 5, Fast and Furious 6. Number 6, Riddick. Number 7, Furious 7. Number 8, A Man Apart. Number 9, Fast 5. Number 10, The Pacifier. 11, The Chronicles of Riddick. 12, Babylon AD. Why is that up there that high? 13, Los Bandoleros. 14, Guardians of the Galaxy. 15, Boiler Room. 16, Multifacial. 17, Pitch Black. 18, Knockaround Guys. 19, Strays. 20, The Chronicles of Riddick, Dark Fury. 21, The Iron Giant. 22, Saving Private Ryan. 23, The Fast and the Furious, Tokyo Drift. 24, The Chronicles of Riddick, Assault on Duck Athena. 25, Wheelman. 26, The Chronicles of Riddick, Escape from Butcher Bay. 27, Riddick Blindsided. 28, Fast and Furious Supercharged. 29, Wiz Khalifa featuring Charlie Puth, See You Again. And 30, Awakenings.
And I'm looking at this game like, how is Wheelman that high too? Because he was awful in that.
Yeah, but he was better than the first Xbox game and better than Riddick Blindsided.
There was a couple stinkers. He's had a lot of stinkers on the video games. He really needs a video game to come out that is like, just doesn't even have to be that good. Just be like fine, and like it would be
eventually. For tentatively our October of this year episode is Fast and Furious Crossroads, which we technically should have played when it came out since we were doing the podcast at the time, but I didn't want to pay full price for that, and I don't think you did either. So we're waiting until
timing was probably bad too.
Yeah. Yes. So I will say this first. I don't think he was bad as a performance in this. I don't think it was his best or even in a top tier.
It just was different though. Like I was saying earlier, like it just felt like a different, despite his character maybe being the same Macho Man, but like it just felt different setting and whatnot. It's kind of like a breath of fresh air a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, he's less. He's not an asshole.
No,
I don't think really anything about him seems that he's an asshole like Riddick is, or like his stuff that he does. And these characters oftentimes peek into that asshole.
He's more cocky.
Yeah, because he can't buy. And I feel like that would be the case if someone's attitude,
Literally, you could punch me. It doesn't matter. You could stab me. It doesn't
and
matter.
He's had moments with his flashbacks or his fake visions of his daughter and his wife, and there's emotion there he puts on. Again, I mentioned his quivering smile when he was talking to Michael Caine.
His comedy was good. He delivered the lines that he was given in a funny way that had me laughing. So I got to give credit to that because, like I said, there's been moments in Fast and Furious where there's supposed to be a joke. And it's just like, not like bad jokes, but like just like they're not knee slappers. But like, I feel like there's ones that could have been, they maybe just could have been delivered better or said in a different tone in the past. But
yeah, I mean, I don't feel like this movie was significantly more than that, though, personally. I feel like that was more of what you just said. If I really think about specifics, I might walk away with a slightly higher
I think it's
opinion on it.
Easily in the top 15, though.
Okay.
Because, like, take away Boiler Room, he had that one good scene and a couple random scenes.
Yes.
So, like,
yes,
knock that one
right.
out. Guardians of the Galaxy, I Am Groot. Like, great.
Hey.
Which was great. But, like,
I don't like the direction that you're taking.
Yeah,
this.
but we know that, like, he only could do so much as a voice actor in a movie that has other people who can actually physically express, and he has to rely on animators and whatnot, too. I mean, I know we gave the fair argument when we did the ranking, but there's a reason why it's 14th, and I think this is better than that. Los Bandoleros better than that. Babylon AD.
Wow.
I don't know.
Okay, let's keep going. Babylon AD is the same character, but he's an asshole, so I say it's better than Babylon AD.
But Babylon AD was the reason I think it's up that high in the movie ranking is because he's the only good part in that movie. Even if he plays an asshole character, from what I remember, like he was the only reason I was even engaged in this film. Because it was like a cool first half, and it was because he was cool and like this hardened asshole guy in Russia or whatever. The world sucks, and he's like, he's kind of interesting in that regard. But then like the plot sucks in the second half, and like I feel like he tried his best to make that movie good. And remember, there was beef between him and the director, and we're on his side. So like that to me is.
So what you're saying, Devin, is this movie is so unbearable and awful, Babylon AD, that it would have easily been forgettable if not for Vin Diesel ruining your peace of mind and forcing you to remember this movie. Vin Diesel hurts this movie by being that good. That's my argument.
That's so like, you're too good. You should have been worse in this garbage movie.
Hey, this movie would have been forgettable if he was bad.
I still think it's above
That's all
that.
I'm saying.
But I just want to say that as like,
Okay.
Chronicles of Riddick, I think better stunts, and he looks cooler, generally speaking.
In Riddick or this movie?
In this one, I think it was the start of him
Pacifier.
getting better. I think it's better than the Pacifier.
I am willing to
now
go
this is where
up.
I'm conflicted.
I'm not willing to go past Fast 5. I'm not willing to put him higher than a Toretto that's in more than one scene. Because Tokyo Drift.
I know.
Is,
Like just like the way you said it.
I'm not willing to put him higher than any.
No, I think
Toretto
he's better.
role like
Also,
that.
like in A Man Apart, Furious 7 for sure. Fast 5, like I'm trying to remember. He had a couple good scenes.
Fuck
in
it,
that.
it's number 10. Right? You want to agree with me there?
I'm just making sure we're vetting it. I'm just trying to remember what happens in Fast 5. Like, what's the memorable moment from Fast 5?
Talking to Brian about their dads. Me when finding out Mia
Was that
is
the
pregnant.
one? That's the one
getting
where
the crew
yeah,
together.
okay, where they're pregnant. Okay, then yeah, I just gotta remember.
Yeah.
Then 10.
I watched the movie recently again too.
That probably helps
to be
because I
fair.
was like, when did we watch that? Last July? It's past July.
September.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. No, I think number 10 for The Last Witch Hunter is a good spot. So it's underneath Furious 7, A Man Apart, and Fast 5, and above The Pacifier, The Chronicles of Riddick, and Babylon AD. So, D&Diesel. This is interesting now.
I have no idea where this is gonna go.
Because unlike the other little, like, fucking skin tags hanging on to the big movies that are a part of our episodes that we've had for the past few times, this was good.
That's a funny way to put it.
You know what I mean? Riddick Blindsided
This is like a beauty
was a
mark.
skin
Now
tag.
it's a beauty mark.
Exactly. This makes Last Witch Hunter seem better, as opposed to Riddick Blindsided or Fast and Furious Supercharged.
I don't know if I agree with it. It makes it feel better because I feel like he wasn't playing the character. I mean, we'll get into that in the Vin ranking. I feel like he was kind of just like enjoying the moment of playing D&D for the first time in a long time.
To be fair, yeah, he did just say, and I attack, and not describing what he does. You know
In a
what
couple
I mean?
moments where he like pretended to be a character, but like it wasn't really.
All right, we're talking about movie.
I'm just saying, like, for that part. But as a standalone thing, too, we gotta also look at it from that lens. Because there could be people, I guess, who just watch that and then don't watch The Last Witch Hunter, which is, because it said 5 million people watched that video. There's gotta be one person who watched that in its entirety and was like, I'm not watching
Yeah,
The
I
Last
don't want to
Witch.
watch that. Yeah,
Or like,
yeah, for sure.
oh, I'll get around to it, and then they just never did. You know what I mean?
I will say, I think overall, the enjoyment factor and everything we discussed when we talked about the thing itself, I liked it better than all of the video games.
Yes.
I liked it better than Los Bandoleros and Babylon AD and The Pacifier and Wheelman, which was a video game. Probably more than Knockaround Guys, and I guess I start to question around Tokyo Drift.
I put her below.
But I think you're willing to grab it up.
I'm gonna put below Knockaround Guys.
Really? I don't think I liked Knockaround Guys. I don't think like much at all.
I mean, if this was any longer, it would be lower for me. I'll say that. Because I don't know if I could.
Really?
I just think this isn't my cup of tea. Like I was saying earlier, like this might not be like my favorite thing, but I can appreciate that they're having fun and seeing Vin being more of a genuine Vin Diesel person instead of him playing a character, or even what he kind of does on Instagram where he's a little more soft spoken and is, you know, talking to someone like he seems to be talking with other people, but as himself. So I feel like that's genuine, and that's what kind of kept me interested. And like I've played D&D before, so I was like, okay, I want to see how this kind of works. But like, as a general thing, like, is it generally well produced? Sure, I've seen D&D things that aren't produced very well, so I'll give it that. But it also comes from a production company, so you'd think they would have a bigger budget. Everyone brought, you know, their energy. But Knockaround Guys has like, the plot's not amazing, but I just feel like I like the plot a lot more than what this story was telling. Like, I don't really care for the story too much. They went to a house, they went to a bog. They fought a wraith, which was kind of cool, and they fought...
For a half second, I thought you were describing Knockaround Guys. They went to a bog. I'm like, when did they do that in the movie?
No. So for me, it's like, if the goal is to tell a story, Knockaround Guys, I found a more interesting story. Not saying it's
Sure.
that much better, but like, it's about
I feel like
drugs.
for
and-
me,
that's cool.
for me, like I'm thinking more about like the performances, not of specifically Vin Diesel, obviously, but of everyone in there. I don't think really like, enjoyed what anyone did in Knockaround Guys, and I think that's what makes the movie feel so forgettable. Unlike Babylon AD, which has a good actor in it, which forces us to remember how awful the movie is. For me, I'm putting D&Diesel personally above Knockaround Guys, and like I said, like that is a for sure type of ranking in my head. But I begin to falter at the Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift in terms of like, well, I think I maybe just enjoy that movie more than this 30 minutes of.
And I think and that's the
Dungeons
thing
and
is like,
Dragons.
I would say I probably enjoyed this more than Tokyo Drift, but I don't enjoy it more than I thought Knockaround Guys. I think it's just out of the placement of. I don't remember when we
Sure.
did the rankings for these two movies, but like I could easily see them switch. But I think we're
Knockaround Guys was October of 2020, and Tokyo Drift was May of 2021.
so it's a good like 6 months, more than that. I can't do math, but I mean I'm fine putting it above it because I think it's generally in that range. Like I can hear an argument for maybe Wheelman, but I still think it's a little bit. I'd much rather watch this than play Wheelman again.
Hey, it's a lot shorter than Wheelman. I think we both agree that it is the new number 19 above Knockaround Guys.
Yeah.
Yay, nay?
I mean, I'm not gonna like.
You're saving your battle for a future thing.
Yeah,
to
it's
fight,
not worth it. Like, and I feel like I already got a good win out of putting Last Witch Hunter on the movie ranking up a little bit higher than I thought I was gonna get out of you. So I'll take it. I'm not upset
Sure.
about it.
All right, so the new
Just wait
10
until
to
we
20.
get to Last Witch Hunter 2, whenever that comes.
If the new 10 to 20 on the movie ranking list is 10 Awakenings, 11 Fast and Furious, 12 A Man Apart, 13 Find Me Guilty, 14 Boiler Room, 15 The Chronicles of Riddick, 16 Pitch Black, 17 The Last Witch Hunter, 18 The Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift, and 19 D&Diesel, and 20 Knockaround Guys. I said I went to 20 and then I was starting to stop at 19. D&Diesel, number 19. Let's rank it in the Vin Diesel performance. So I think we both agree on is that he felt real as just Vin Diesel.
Which we don't
He
see.
slips into character sometimes. At the same time, he doesn't necessarily play like how he thinks the character is until the very end when I think he specifically says, and I think Calder would do this. So there is that, but it wasn't necessarily like that up until then. But he's not trying to step on toes either. He very easily could have made it all about himself and everyone would have went with it because that's kind of why it's happening. You know what I mean? It's just the celebrity is there and they're going to follow what the celebrity does because it helps the views. You know what I mean? Because the celebrity will walk around and promote it. I don't necessarily think that it's like... I think it's, again, better than the video games.
Oh yeah, like just him being
So-
genuine and putting in effort is already better than the video games because they're like those Chronicles of Riddick games. We were like he didn't put effort into this. We know he could
phoned
do
it
better.
in.
Yeah, he phoned it in.
Yeah.
I think everyone
I think it's
phoned it in
better-
on those fucking games, but
I think it's better than his one scene in Tokyo Drift. But is it better than Saving Private Ryan? His performance in Saving Private
and
Ryan?
so he had that really good death scene and had some cool one-liners.
Like, I don't think I would put it above Saving Private Ryan, but I would easily put it above everything else.
Yeah, I've been like, I started high and I've been going down. I'm like, Knockaround Guys, probably not. Strays, maybe. Chronicles of Riddick, Dark Fury, maybe.
I think we're just looking at what the content is
Yeah.
and how little of it, but it felt genuine, so it's very easily not the bottom
Yeah.
25 to 32 range. You know?
Yeah, let's just put it above Tokyo Drift, I think. Like, I think he has
Yeah.
more of a emotional impact in Saving Private Ryan. He's one of the first characters to die, and he's in a, doesn't hurt the movie. He doesn't hurt this, but like I feel like like we said, he was being genuine, which is great. It's cool. It's different for him, but also it felt like he could have been more in character. I think. But I think he was just kind of in awe of him playing D&D with folks again, and that's cool. But like, if we're ranking it, we're looking for art.
We're ranking it, yeah.
So
exactly.
If this was a Vin person ranking, then yeah, it'd be top 5 easily.
All right, we got to wrap this up. So, The Last Witch Hunter is our number 10 on the Vin Diesel performance ranking, and D&Diesel is our 24th. So I would say essentially, well, actually, no, I don't want to put a tier because I actually did enjoy his one couple lines in Tokyo Drift. It's just the content wasn't there. It just wasn't enough of it. Again, we will always quote, "He was when he was rolling with me." You know what I mean? So, but yes, so that's it for this show. Thank you guys so much for listening. I don't thank the audience enough. I think we need to be like, thanks.
If you listen to this whole thing and found even just one thing interesting and we made your day in some way or form, awesome. Because
I don't think I'd go that far.
No, this is why we can't thank the fans, is because you'll say stuff like that.
Oh my god. Devin's always trying to blame me for his own. In any case, next episode we're going to be watching Billy Lynn's long halftime walk.
I thought you were saying Billie Eilish for a second. I'm like, wait, what?
Fuck, on Disney Plus. Here we go. Billy Lynn's long halftime walk, a 2016 film that it's an Ang Lee film.
Okay.
And in theaters, it was a 3D 4K film at 120 frames per second.
Can we find this? Have we looked to make sure this is...
I started looking. I don't think that there would have to be a Blu-ray made of it now. Because now there are players and TVs that are HDMI 2.1
I meant more
compatible.
just to rent, just generally.
Oh, yeah, you can rent it on
Amazon. Because I don't
want...
We had one episode where we were supposed to do a war story or whatever, and we just literally couldn't find it. Not even in the dark web.
Yep. We hired a hitman, though, on the dark web.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is on Amazon Prime Video. You can rent it or whatever. Cool. But this 120 frames per second version, I don't think is
I don't know if I want to
anywhere.
watch that.
I would.
Ugh.
I think it'd be so interesting to see. I want to know what it looks like. I don't have any monitors or TVs capable of 120 hertz.
That's true.
So.
But I just feel like I don't know. Frame rates, a movie that isn't shot in its traditional frame rate, just, I don't know. Like the Hobbit movies. Mm-mm.
I watched, I think, the second Hobbit movie in the 48. And I don't know if there are Blu-rays of the 48. I would watch that. It's cool. It's just interesting.
I just felt everything was blurry.
But the idea would be it's less blurry.
It felt more blurry.
More frames.
At least from what I remember in theaters.
You don't remember that.
Okay.
I'm denying that. I'm denying that. Yes, next episode we'll be watching Billy Lynn's long halftime walk, and no skin tags attached to this film. It's just that movie. So we'll see you next month in March. Ahoy mateys, that's what the St. Patrick's Day parade is about. See you next time.
Bye-bye.
What is it with you? What do you got, a death wish or something?
That's what it takes. I just want to race.